Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Getting fit, your New Year's resolution? Book a Pilates and group exercise class at FIVEAA Extra. 6 locations.
Changing a tyre has left a man fighting for his life in hospital. The 23-year-old was hit by a four-wheel drive while swapping tyres on the Port River Expressway at Wingfield yesterday afternoon. Police are investigating the crash. There's been a fire in the northern suburbs. Prima Osborne from the MFS says they were called to a vacant office building on Langford Avenue at Elizabeth late last night.
The MFS firefighters took approximately 10 minutes to control the blaze, and in doing so prevented further damage to the vacated building. Fire investigators will be tending the scene this morning to determine cause and damage. The federal government's pledge to accelerate the efficiency of Australian cars by 2028 is set to cost us. Motorists could be paying at least another $25,000 for popular SUVs and utes under proposed fuel efficiency standards. The government has rejected the claims, saying drivers would save at the Bowser. A former federal court judge and a former public servant have been appointed to lead a review into Australia's apprenticeship system. Justice Ian Ross and Lisa Paul have been tasked with investigating low completion rates. They've been given up to 6 months to complete the review. Federal Skills Minister Brendan O'Connor says they'll also look at ways to tackle labour shortages in key industries.
There needs to be a lot of capacity in our education training sectors, including the apprenticeship system, to supply the skills across the economy. And we believe undertaking this review will ensure that we get better outcomes.
Taylor Swift wrapped up the first leg of her Australian tour last night. Gail Watson is in Melbourne.
96,000 fans every night for 3 nights, leaving Taylor Swift overwhelmed at playing in front of the biggest crowds of her career.
The math is that it's 288,000 people in 3 nights. Melbourne, you're the love of my life.
The mega crowd's even making news in the US. And now the clean-up and repairs begin. Ground staff at the MCG are expecting to lose around 2/3 of the grass once the massive stage and ground cover is removed. MCG boss Stuart Fox says the delivery of replacement grass has already been booked.
Got 12,000 square metres of turf coming in.
He expects it will take about 12 days to replace all of the turf.
Jimmy Barnes's family have opened up about his health battle. The 67-year-old underwent life-saving surgery late last year after he was diagnosed with a heart infection. His son David Campbell telling 60 Minutes they weren't sure if he was going to make it.
I called Jane and she was like, this is not good. He doesn't feel good at all. And so he had gone from feeling like I'm letting people down to something's wrong and I don't know what's happening with my body. And it was starting to
scare him. I think he was scared.
I think he was scared.
Now to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows and Port Adelaide players will hit the training track today ahead of their internal trial match this Friday at Alberton. Both sides have had their internals and it was relatively smooth sailing for both, although the Power will be keeping a close eye on recruiter Sava Radikalia. That's after he had a slight niggle in his knee which kept him out of the second half. Meantime, Melbourne has revealed troubled star Clayton Oliver has every chance to feature in round 1. That's after a solid hit-out against Richmond. Oliver has spent time away from the club to deal with personal issues. He played 3 terms of a match simulation against Richmond at Casey Fields yesterday in a team made up of mainly VFL and fringe AFL players in a game that followed the seniors side. Melbourne assistant coach Troy Chaplin says it was good to see.
But you could see the class that he does bring, so we're excited to have him back in the program now and really looking forward to the next few weeks.
The Adelaide 36ers have enjoyed a final round 76-70 point win against the New Zealand Breakers to finish what was a disappointing season on a high. The result means the Sixers still finished in 9th spot but only finished 1 game outside the playoffs. Their record 12-16 for the season. There was one other game overnight with Melbourne United enjoying a 5-point win against Illawarra to cement top spot. There were 2 games in the English Premier League overnight with Manchester United having a 2-1 win against Luton while Brighton smashed Sheffield United 5-0. And India has smashed England by a whopping 434 runs to win the 3rd test and in the process take a 2-1 lead in their 5-match series. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
A mostly sunny Monday with a top of 35, cloudy and 35 tomorrow, Wednesday partly cloudy 34, sunny and 29 on Thursday. Right now it's 20 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Still thinking about a sea change? Think Oakford Homes in Counter Bay. New stage released and selling fast. A variety of block sizes available in a friendly community with brand new low maintenance homes plus the beach close by. Affordable packages, no surprises, move in now or invest for the future. Fixed price turnkey packages, flat land ready to build. Don't miss out. New stage now released. Visit our display village at Encounter Bay. Oakford Homes, a statement of quality. oakfordhomes.com.au.
Ladies, is the need to wee all the time making your life a misery? Caruso's Wee Less to the rescue. Caruso's Wee Less relieves the annoying and inconvenient feeling that you need to go to the bathroom too often and supports bladder health and function. So if your need to wee all the time is getting in the way of enjoying life, try Caruso's Wee Less today. Caruso's Wee Less is made in Australia, comes with a money-back guarantee and is available from leading pharmacies and health food stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
It's Edward from Edwardstown Mazda, South Australia's #1 destination for Mazda. Edwardstown Mazda has a very serious offer. So this is my most serious voice. This month's get savings equal to the on-road costs, plus free servicing on all 2023 plates. T's and C's apply. I'm Edward from Edwardstown Mazda, and I'm being very serious right now.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6:07. Good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 19th of February, another warm day on the way. We'll check in with the Bureau shortly and get you across all the developments happening in Adelaide, Australia and right around the world over the course of the next 3 hours. Stacey Lee will join us at being a Monday morning. We'll talk state politics and set up the week ahead. We've got someone who was at Taylor Swift in Melbourne that's going to be doing a review for us a little bit later. Big developments in shipbuilding and big figures if you're planning on buying a new car in the future, emblazoned on the front page at the Tiser. We're going to dig into those stories in depth after 7 o'clock this morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Hope everyone got through the heat okay. It wasn't too punishing. It wasn't 40 degrees. It was perfect summer.
Had an edge to it, though, I thought.
Yeah, it did.
The sun had an edge to it this weekend.
Yeah, it felt hot. You were down the beach.
Went down the beach yesterday. Late yesterday, too, and it still felt...
Rosie'd be at the age now where dangling her in the waves, she must love it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, we did. It's literally what we did. Went and stood. It was actually it wasn't exactly surf conditions, but for Henley and Grange, it was a little bit wavy yesterday.
Yeah, there was a bit of wind
around. She had the best. She loved it. She can walk along the water now and fall in and...
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's good age.
Because what is she, 1.5?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 1.5.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful time.
She learnt some lessons about eating sand yesterday.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Good.
It's not great. I didn't realise you needed to learn that. It's not sort of an innate thing you learn, yourself.
Did she just lose it when she put it in her mouth? And
no, unfortunately, no. She
just sort of going.
She threw, as toddlers do. She threw food to the side, and I don't want that anymore. And then a little bit later went, oh, food.
Oh, so she found the food that she'd been eating in the sand.
Yeah, and she found it and just. Yeah, Mum and Dad weren't quite quick enough to thwart that one.
The idea of eating at the beach is better than the reality of eating at the beach, I reckon.
I could not agree more.
I mean, fish and chips is okay, but you want to make sure that the wind's not sort of picking up speed. Nothing.
Any wind and it's over.
A bag of perfect chips from Soto's at Semaphore, like a couple of grains of sand.
Yeah, no wind. You need zero wind.
So we're going to find out today the defence future of South Australia, or is this a leak tomorrow?
So tomorrow the surface fleet review will be released.
Well, Australia's best defence reporter Cameron Stewart says this on the front page of the Oz this morning. A new fleet of small, well-armed warships will form the centrepiece of a sweeping restructure of the Navy as the Albanese government seeks to rebut claims it's been too slow to respond to the threat posed by China. And then this is the key bit. The long-awaited review of the Navy surface fleet, to be released on Tuesday, will also retain the troubled $45 billion Hunter-class frigate program in Adelaide, but with only 6 of the anti-submarine ships likely to be ordered rather than the initially planned 9. That's what the Premier said. He didn't confirm it, he didn't leak it, but when we had him on the show, when he did his heroic mercy dash to Canberra to see Richard Marles, he came on this very program, and you asked him the question, how many's enough to avoid this stop-start, valley of death, on again and off again build, and he said 6.
He said 6. 6 gives us continuous shipbuilding.
So he must have known it was going to be 6.
I think he did. He
had to have known.
Well, there was the spectre they were going to call it at 3. So he'll claim this is a huge success, that we've got 6 when...
Well, wasn't the promise 9?
The promise was 9. The thing that, part of this, that, and again, we don't have the full detail yet. This is good reporting from the Oz about what's going to be announced tomorrow. So the long and short of it is, we don't have enough ships. When the US said, hey, we need some help in the Red Sea with the Houthi rebels, we went, we don't have any ships or people that can do that. Which is a little bit frightening.
Out at the moment.
It's a little bit frightening, isn't it? That we spend billions of dollars on our Navy and we couldn't send one ship because we didn't have any ready. Now, here's the thing, though. So the Surface Review is saying, to combat the issues we have in Australia right now, we need more smaller ships. And the nature of naval warfare these days is you can pack a lot of firepower into a small ship. So it's not like World War II at the start of it. We had battleships and destroyers. These days you can put a lot of big missiles on a very small ship. That's fine. The thing that concerns me from the South Australian shipbuilding point of view is the second last bar, I think, of that front page that says these new ships are going to be built in Western Australia.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Where are they building them?
Western Australia, according to the reporting this morning. So the sum of it all is we've got 3 fewer ships. I thought there must be some kind of goodie sprinkled on top to sell this in South Australia.
Well, that's disastrous. It's impossible to defend that as a breach of a policy commitment. Because
unless there's something that's to be announced tomorrow.
How many people does it take and how long does it take them to make one Hunter-class frigate?
A long time, it turns out.
Yeah.
The first one won't be on until 2032.
Jeez.
How long have we been talking about that program? Years.
2016, wasn't it?
16 years.
Yeah. Well, the meeting to put them all together was 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, from go to wire, from announcement to hitting the water, be 16 years.
Well, that has to, if they're going to make these new smaller ships in Western Australia, then what does that mean? I don't think the Mercy Dash looks like it has been that effective, does it?
No, I was surprised that there wasn't some suggestion that we'd be getting some of that build here in South Australia. Go from 9 to 6 is huge. So what constitutes continuous shipbuilding? What's next? What's the next? Does it just get us to AUKUS?
Well,
is that the idea?
It'll be the first sub, won't it?
That's
when's that happening?
Well, if you read what came out of the United States over the weekend, a lot of Trump allied politicians suddenly say, this AUKUS thing, can we really afford to do it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some real concerns hanging over the defence industry in South Australia as of this morning. But we'll learn more tomorrow.
We should have just talked about the weather for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
instead.
I think you're right.
Would have been a lot less stressful, a lot more relaxing. That's a total mess.
I think so.
Unbelievable.
All right, 14 after 6. We're going to take a break. We'll reset and get into some of the other headlines of the day on this Monday, the 19th of February.
City Discount Tires. Get saving now with City Discount Tires. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tires, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttires.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
I'm high! As if the Excelsior Hotel wasn't already a crowd favourite, now they're making Sundays a family favourite. Bring the family in on a Sunday and kids eat free with every adult main meal ordered. Yep, kids eat free with every adult main. T's and C's apply. Gotta love the Excelsior Hotel. Now they're making Sundays a family favourite. The Excelsior Hotel. Feels like coming home, but better. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
Ken Hall Plumbers has been serving Adelaide homes and businesses for over 40 years, which is an incredible record. They're obviously doing something right for South Australians.
They certainly are, and the success is proof of Ken's commitment to great service. He handpicks only the best people to be part of delivering the Ken Hall way of doing business.
The Ken Hall way runs through the entire family business from the moment you pick up the phone to the completion of all works.
Ken Hall Plumbers have grown from humble beginnings to offer a greater range of trade services, and they include electricians, roofers, tilers, general builders, home maintenance and full bathroom renovations.
If you haven't experienced the Ken Hall service and team of trades, keep them top of mind for any plumbing issues. In fact, if you've got anything to do with plumbing, electrical, roofing, tiling, home maintenance and full bathroom renovations, give Ken a call 24/7 or visit kenhallplumbers.com.au.
For over 3 decades, Regent Homes has been synonymous with crafting architecturally bespoke homes, each one a testament to Regent Homes' unwavering commitment to design, quality and sophistication. And because Regent Homes is a South Australian family-owned company, they understand more than anyone what it takes to build a family home. Experience Regent Homes' award-winning display homes at Lightsview and Blackwood Park. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
Don't you hate it when everything you liked about a display model cost extra? The gang at Austrac Campers hate it too, which is why when you buy an Austrac camper, everything listed is included in the price.
Austrac Campers!
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriutpa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
Seven minutes after 6, let's jump into the news headlines on this Monday morning. Starting out in our roads, where a man has been hit by a four-wheel drive while changing a tyre on the Port River Expressway.
This is horrible, this story. The poor bloke.
It happened at Wingfield in the afternoon yesterday. The 23-year-old from Taparoo was treated at the scene before being taken to hospital in a critical condition. The driver was not injured, and investigations into the crash are continuing.
I don't know how the driver would not have seen the bloke. It's weird. You know, broad daylight. It's not like it's on some curve. The guy was off on the verge. It's hard to understand. But imagine that. Like you'd be completely strung out already.
Yeah.
You know, down there on your hands and knees trying to get the tyre done as fast as possible. And for that to happen is just terrible.
Federal Labor's broken promise on the Stage 3 tax cuts hasn't caused much of a blip for voters, according to a new poll. The Australian Fin Review Freshwater Strategy poll shows two-party preferred Labor leads the Liberals 51 to 49. The poll also shows cost of living remains the key concern of voters. But again, we've had, I think, Redbridge, we've had News poll, we've had this now, Freshwater Strategy poll. Stage 3 tax cuts not an issue.
No, unless you're at the tennis the other night.
Yes.
$6,000 tickets to see the Australian Open final. There's a real issue there.
Means it's probably more of an issue for Teals, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That's politically, they've got the most to lose.
Well, all the Teal seats are the richest seats in the country. That's like, you know, Malcolm Turnbull's old seat, Dave Sharma's old seat. Well, they're the same seat, aren't they? Because Dave Sharma took over from Malcolm Turnbull and Wentworth. But yeah, they're the ones who, do you want to hear people guffawing about it and tut-tutting? You know, they'll be doing it in sort of houses you might see in Vogue living.
So you might actually see, if Lib's trying to win back those seats, run really aggressive campaigns about the tax cuts, and less so around the rest of the country, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll do targeted campaigns there, but they're not going to be mentioning it when they're trying to win, you know, Boothby back.
Do you think someone needs to tell Jimmy Barnes to have a break? This man is just the Energizer Bunny. It seems like we're on this never-ending cycle. If he gets crook, he cancels shows. 2 days later, he says, I'm back, and he puts on extra shows. He says now he's fully focused on returning to the stage after another somewhat dramatic health scare. Barnes had open heart surgery late last year, and he spoke to 60 Minutes, said that at one stage he didn't think he was going to make it. He says step one will be performing at the Blues Fest in Byron Bay at the end of March, ahead of a bigger tour that we announced on the program last week that starts in June.
And it'd be great because I miss being on stage, you know.
You have to.
I have to do it. I don't have a choice. I need to get up and sing. And it's not about having people scream and adore. It's about this. It just clears the emotions out of me.
We watched it at home last night, and I must admit, I was, good luck to him, but I was surprised. We're only talking weeks since this happened, and he's already talking about next month. Like Blues Fest is a big deal. It's a huge event. It's up in Byron Bay, isn't it? I think normally there. Never been to it, but and then going back on the road nationally, I don't know. He doesn't need the money. No, I suppose, as he says, it's just an addiction.
We said it about Paul McCartney, didn't we? When he got off the plane here, like, what does Paul McCartney doesn't need any more money. No. He doesn't need to be congenial to people. Well, he doesn't need anything, but clearly there's a thrill of doing it that you can't replicate any other way.
There's a really good interview with James Taylor in the Oz on the weekend. You've got a friend guy, fantastic singer-songwriter, and he's touring, and he made the point that you don't really have to, but he quoted Paul McCartney because McCartney said something like, well, if you've become a success as a musician, you feel like you've got a talent, and you just like sharing it with people. It's like anything. If you're a really good cook, you become a chef. It's just what you do. It's not like it's a money-driven thing.
No. Wonder if anyone's got tickets or going to see Jimmy Barnes when he comes to South Australia. There's 2 dates he's doing in Barossa Valley and Adelaide. If you're going along to see him, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000. The Eiffel Tower will be closed to visitors today because maintenance workers are on strike. I think everyone in France is on strike at the moment. The Workers' Union says the planned works ahead of the Paris Olympics have been grossly underestimated. The union highlights the maintenance schedule also put a heavier workload on staff. 6 million people per year visit the Eiffel Tower.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But none today.
The French president, they held a press conference a couple of weeks ago where they're telling everyone in Paris not to organise any work on their house and no tradies and also no deliveries. They're saying they don't want anyone getting parcels delivered, even Uber Eats, in the weeks leading up to the Olympics because they're so paranoid that the city is just going to grind to a halt. And this is a place it's the most visited city in the world by tourists.
And they're worried they're not going to be able to accommodate them.
No, they're just saying that they're worried the entire city is going to grind to a halt if there's any extra movement. So they're saying to people who live there, basically, live like hermits for a month.
It's quite extraordinary. Speaking of extraordinary, the images of the Taylor Swift concert at the MCG over the weekend. Played 3 shows over the weekend. MCG ground staff expect that about 2/3 of the grass has been ruined. 2/3
it's just incredible.
Is gone. More grass has been ordered and is ready to lay and be prepared for the start of the AFL season. But
it looked like there were as many people outside the ground as inside it.
I've never seen anything like that. The pictures were just absolutely extraordinary.
No, it was unbelievable. Hey, good text here from Paul. That hopefully Paul knows what he's talking about, certainly more than us. Boy, you blokes really know how to beat up a negative story for our shipbuilding industry. 6 frigates will keep us more than busy until at least 2032, and defence policy will continue to adapt over that time. This is a reflection of 10 years of wishy-washy policy. I'm confident we'll have more than enough to keep our local industry active, even with a reduced AUKUS deal and a share of new, smaller crafts. Stay positive, fellas. Not sure what the share of new, smaller crafts is.
That's the part that we expected to hear about, and it doesn't sound like there's going to be any.
Yeah.
Again, it's reporting before the official release, so there might be something held back for the day. We hope so, but it's hard to get excited about losing 1/3 of the contract that we were expecting to build here.
Which is the leaked version of, or the speculative version of what's going to happen.
Yeah,
that's on the front page of the paper today.
Top of 35, mostly sunny today. 35 and cloudy tomorrow. Wednesday 34. Thursday's 29. Drops away significantly. Suddenly 21 looks cold on the forecast. 21 and cloudy on Friday, with potential for a little bit of a drizzle. Maybe we'll get a mill of rain. Saturday 24 and Sunday is 28. We always like to check the UV index as we are in summer at the moment. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart. Download the Sun Smart app. The UV rating today will reach 11. which is considered to be extreme. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Agostina Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on right now. Receive a $1,000 bonus fuel card on the 2023 build Outlander. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Fellas, we'll get stuck into the winners and losers, shall we, from the weekend. Look, I'll give them both wins because they didn't lose, and most importantly, no major injuries. Crows and Port, their internal trials. Unlike Hawthorn, for example, who lose a key defender and, another very important running defender / wingman in Changwon Jath. So, Crows and Port, they're playing this Friday. Decent start. I've seen the highlights from both games, but you want to see them in action now, and that starts this Friday night. They're going to be playing at Alberton. At
Alberton. And open to the public, if you want to go along?
Yeah, head on down there. Should get a decent crowd. There was a pretty good crowd. Yeah, I was at Alberton last Friday, and there was a decent crowd there for that. So people
reckon it's big. I don't know. My sense is it's a very recent phenomenon, this idea of people getting down to trial games and things. I reckon 20 years ago, they weren't particularly popular. You get...
Well, that's because you had the Ansett Cup.
Well, that's true. Yeah, 4 weeks of Ansett Cup. If that wasn't enough to whet your whistle and appetite.
Exactly.
But they're big events now. People watching live stream of internal trials. I mean, that's unthinkable once upon a time.
People get right into it, don't they, to see the youngsters coming through.
Absolutely.
And, who's out there impressing. The Adelaide 36ers, I'll give them a win, even though the season was disappointing. They finished with a win. Only one game outside the finals in the end. It's just frustrating. Given they finished strongly, I think they were 8-5 under Scott Ninnis, but just started from too far back. So
is he going to get the job?
He's a chance. I think it depends on whether they can get Brian Gorge, and if they can get him, then I think they'll go for that. So he coached the Boomers, bit of a legend of the NBL. So we'll see whether or not they can make that happen. Losers from the weekend: Adelaide United, disappointing. They're now winless from their last 4. They're struggling. They've won 2 of their last 11. Sitting in 9th spot, but drifting outside the top 6 quickly. 6 points outside.
Don't look
now.
like it. That's the worst part of it.
They're miles off, aren't they, at the moment? Redbacks, unfortunately, back on the bottom of the table. They could have easily been just about top, but their bowlers have done the work, but the batters, unfortunately, and again, better in the second innings, but just a fair way off at the moment. Alex de Minaur, he's just lost his final overnight to Yannick Sinner, who's now beaten him 7 times in a row. de Minaur playing well. He's number 9 in the world, but disappointing. He couldn't quite get it done at a tournament over there in Rotterdam. Alex Volkanovski, for those fans out there that follow the UFC, he lost his featherweight title bout. And England, the cricket side, Bazball, has come back to hit them in a big way.
Weren't they chasing 527 or something? And they were 4 for 20?
All out for 122. They lost by 434 runs. So,
but it was a moral victory. That's what I've been
They had
hearing.
fun. They enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, they out there. Everyone was smiling.
And
all those wickets were tumbling.
Well, I think everyone else that doesn't like England, which is everyone else, was definitely smiling. And also, another winner and loser, Taylor Swift, at the MCG, so we'll give her a big tick. She was a winner from the weekend, I think, wasn't she? But the loser, maybe the MCG ground staff. They're going to have to work for 12 days.
What was you saying?
Around the clock.
Isn't it?
So 2/3 of the grass is just gone. Rennie, it's like your place at your 40th.
What about that?
Cactus.
But he wasn't invited, I didn't think, but somewhere Les Burdett was in tears about the state of your lawn after that. He didn't even know why. He just felt teary. I reckon
it was the rain as well at your place.
Yeah, it was like sludge, wasn't it?
Oh, it was incredible.
But yes, they might need to. I think it was Acres of Lawn that went out, and they came and fixed mine. Well, they need to get to the MCG.
They really need Acres of Lawn.
Yeah.
Dal will be able to retire if he fixes the MCG.
It's pretty good the way they turn it around these days, though, I think. They bed it in and they stitch it in, actually, the turf. Remember you used to get scenes where you could lift up bits, or guys would slide and you'd see the piece had come up.
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen anymore.
No, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
we'll find out, because I think this will be the biggest challenge they've faced.
It's a massive event. Now, it heads to Sydney. You're not heading... Pem, I know you went to a Tay years ago.
Years ago, when it was down at the entertainment centre.
Yeah.
No, not sure. No. Don't. There's something happening. I'm not allowed to say anything about it.
Okay.
Oh. Breaking at 6:29.
No, I can't.
Okay. That's tantalising. Well done, Rennie.
That was a very off the cuff. I didn't know that. So.
Rennie.
Sorry about that, Pem. I caught you off guard.
That was superb. Magnificent work. All right. We'll let you get back to the newsroom.
Thanks, boys.
5AA News is coming up. We'll have more in just a moment. Our number is 82230000. You can text us too on the Dutton's text line. Big 10 Ford, GM, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu, Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Dutton's, easy to do business with.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today. With the 6:30 news, I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra hands-on physio at 6 locations. Even more convenient now with online bookings at physioextra.com.
Investigations are underway into a crash on the Port River Expressway at Wingfield. A 23-year-old man was hit by a four-wheel drive while changing his tyre yesterday afternoon. He's in hospital in a critical condition. It's been a record-breaking start to the 2024 Adelaide Fringe. More than 650,000 flocked to the opening weekend. The festival set new ticket records on Friday and Saturday night. Tourism Minister Zoe Beddison says overall ticket sales are up 7% on this time last year.
There's something for absolutely everyone. They've really focused on keeping ticket prices at a diverse range of levels.
A new national study has taken a deep dive into who actually smokes in Australia. Gail Watson has more.
Around 2.5 million people smoke daily in Australia. A first-of-its-kind national study from the Australian National University, published in the Medical Journal of Australia, has tried to debunk common myths about who is smoking. Researchers say their study counters widespread perceptions that smokers are largely uneducated. They found 69% of smokers have completed Year 12, 69% of those of working age are in paid employment, and 73% had good mental health. Study's senior author, Professor Emily Banks, says people need to see themselves in campaigns tackling tobacco addiction.
The federal opposition is being accused of politicising border security as it questions Labor's commitment to protecting the nation's shores. The government has been defending its commitment to Operation Sovereign Borders after more than 40 asylum seekers arrived in remote WA. Opposition leader Peter Dutton says the boats wouldn't have made it undetected if border surveillance had been improved.
I don't believe there are proper surveillance methods in place. They've abolished one of the important legs of Operation Sovereign Borders, which was temporary protection visas, and it's a weak Prime Minister being tested by people smugglers, and when the Prime Minister says to you there's nothing to see here, you know once again he's not telling the truth.
Olympic officials are scrambling to reignite the spark behind the 2032 Brisbane Games. Chloe Affleck has more.
It's been almost 3 years since Brisbane was awarded the 2032 Olympics, but the plans around how the River City will host the global event remains murky. With a tainted track record of government infighting, public protests and insular leadership, officials are now concerned the reputation of the event has been damaged. But in a bid to rekindle the flame, Olympic bosses are now calling for the opening ceremony of the Games to be shared between multiple cities. Australian Olympic Committee President Ian Chesterman has suggested the ceremony be split between Cairns, Townsville, Brisbane and the Gold Coast.
And Cillian Murphy and Emma Stone are the big winners at this morning's BAFTA Awards in London. They're now favourites to take out Best Actor and Best Actress at next month's Oscars. Now turning to 5AA's sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows and Port Adelaide are set to welcome back some big names for this week's pre-season showdown when the two sides meet on Friday night at Alberton. Among them are Rory Laird and Darcy Fogarty for the Crows, while the Power are set to bring in Aaliyah and Jeremy Finlayson. Well, Australian tennis star Alex de Minaur has fallen to Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner in the final round of the Rotterdam Open. He lost the match 5-7, 4-6. The featherweight title reign of Australian UFC star Alex Volkanovski is over. He's lost his belt of 4 years after a second-round knockout. That was at the hands of the undefeated Ilia Topuria. Volkanovski says their rivalry may not yet be over.
You know, I've been champion of this featherweight division a long time. He keeps mentioning Spain. Maybe we'll do a rematch over there in Spain.
The NBL's regular season has wrapped up with the Adelaide 36ers enjoying a 6-point win at home against the New Zealand Breakers. Despite the result, though, they finished just outside the top 6. Melbourne United, meantime, cemented top spot after beating Illawarra 92-87. United coach Dean Vickerman says they were focused on finishing the regular season on a high.
We wanted it to be a kind of a playoff intensity about the way that we did things, and, you know, mistakes were a little bit heightened.
The Hawks and Sydney Kings will both feature in the play-in tournament, which kicks off next Wednesday. And there were 2 games in the English Premier League overnight. Manchester United continuing their fine form with a 2-1 away win against Luton, while Brighton belted Sheffield United 5-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Mostly sunny today, heading for a top of 35. Cloudy and 35 tomorrow. Wednesday, partly cloudy 34. Thursday, sunny 29. Right now, it's 23 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
25 to 7, Jade Robin out on the road for us. We'll catch up with her in just a moment.
How good's Jade? Jade is an asset.
Oh, yeah.
Jade is a great person.
We had a good trade week.
We did. Good trade period.
Yeah, we did. Getting Jade into the tent has been an excellent addition. We'll catch up with her in just a moment.
The GG. All the jizz.
Our US cross just before 7 o'clock. Tim Lester in the United States will join us. Port Lincoln brings us a bit of a thought starter this morning at 6:30. Where do you stand on the question of shark culling? It's something that they're seriously debating this morning. Not just the shark population, but sharks involved in deadly attacks. So the plan has the backing of the Elliston Mayor, because they've obviously had a stack of shark attacks recently. The council there is set today to vote to support the push to kill sharks responsible for deadly attacks. The Port Lincoln Mayor has commended the efforts of the Elliston Council, but suggests that there are other strategies that could be employed, including electronic shield deterrents, acoustic targeting, eco-shark barriers. There are suggestions that the metro-style aerial shark patrols could be extended to cover larger parts of the regions. Here is the Mayor of Elliston, Andrew McLeod.
Great white shark attacks are a statewide issue, and our council has recently discussed measures around this. We believe changes need to be made.
We would have to kill thousands of sharks to actually make a difference. If we see there's a big white shark in a particular area and we can warn people to get out of the ocean, almost in real time.
So it's Andrew McLeod, the Mayor of Elliston, and after that, the voice of Brianna Labusque, who's a shark researcher, essentially. That audio courtesy of 9 News last night.
I think it's a stupid idea. Talking about chasing your tail, and let's keep a sense of perspective around this. What are we talking about in a statistical sense?
4 sharks?
We sit here every morning talking about the road toll. This poor bloke fighting for his life at the moment, changing a tyre on the side of the expressway. The chances of being killed by a shark, you're almost better off buying a Powerball ticket every day. It's terribly, terribly sad when it happens. But the idea too that all these sharks are just waiting to kill someone, I reckon everyone in South Australia who swims at the beach, I think you'd be surprised to know how physically close you've been to a shark in your life without knowing it.
Yep.
I reckon most of us have probably been within, 150 metres of a shark, and nothing happened. Most times you're in the water with a shark, nothing happens. Even probably a great white. People do free diving with great whites and don't get bitten. So, the idea that they're nothing other than uncontrollable predators that have to be culled is it's just ridiculous, I think.
Well, and so they're talking about killing those that were involved in deadly attacks.
What is this, the criminal justice system for sharks now?
Well, I think actually the only argument, I don't think there's a scientific argument in favour of this, because as far as I know, and I stand corrected if there are any shark experts listening, they don't become man-eaters.
These people have watched too many Jaws movies.
But the sharks don't develop a taste for humans. They're not like other animals that you go, well, you have to kill them because now they see humans as a source of food, potentially.
Yeah, like a bear in a domestic setting.
Exactly. Like
in a suburban setting.
Exactly like a bear. Because most of the time, most people die from shark attacks generally because they get bitten and a shark says, I don't actually want any of that. And they bleed out.
Yeah, it's almost always an accident.
That's right, because it's bones and they don't enjoy... They don't go after us. It's always an accident.
Well, they think we're a seal.
So I don't understand what the justification is for a cull. Beyond maybe it makes people feel better. I don't know. What do you think, folks? 8223 You can text us, of course, too, on the Dutton's text line 044808 1395.
There's a few good texts already. This is one that I think statistically makes a good point. It'd be an interesting stat over the last 10 years, shark deaths versus gum tree limb deaths. So do we chop down all the gum trees?
Well,
I mean, there's more gum trees than sharks in the city, sharks being water-dwelling creatures, but maybe if we're going to do the sharks, we get rid of all the gum trees while we're at it.
If you put that to the mathematical argument, I think you might come up with a surprising result.
One here from Dave Harper. Sharks are not like dogs that can be trained not to attack people. Leave them alone. We're in their environment. If you don't want to get attacked, stay out of their domain. Mark from Para Hills. I'm an old salty. Surfing, swimming, fishing, kayaking, diving, snorkelling. Leave the sharks alone. Yeah, I agree. And are these counsellors have they got a background in marine biology or something? I don't think they do they?
We've got a $100 unique home-style food voucher for your thoughts on any topic indeed this morning, folks. Give us a buzz, 8223 0000.
Dave from Alberton, where's this text? This is terrific. Just about poor old England going down like in a screaming heap. Dave writes, it seems Bazball has failed. Perhaps England should revisit a previously successful program stealing South African cricketers. Thanks for that, Dave.
All right, let's head out on the road. I think Jade Robin's taking us to England this morning. Good morning to you, Jade.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning, everyone. I've got a little bit of an international flair this morning. It is the 77th British Academy Film Awards. They're taking place in London. The short for it is the BAFTAs. It's the who's who of movies. Basically, the Oscars, well, maybe a little bit less and a whole lot more than the Logies. Prince William, he's arrived solo looking very dapper. He's been photographed spending a lot of time with our Kate Blanchett. They were very animated, having a good chat, and he mentioned his wife is still recovering. She often, has for the past few years attended the BAFTAs looking absolutely sensational, but as we know, she's had abdominal tummy surgery, so she's still at home. So Will's attended on his own, and he apologised for not having watched a lot of the movies. He admitted he hadn't watched Barbie yet. He's probably the only human on the planet that hasn't, but he hoped that. He did say that he's a big fan of Christopher Nolan, so he'd be pleased if he wins. He said he loved Oppenheimer. So, actually, Oppenheimer has absolutely cleaned up so far. They've just this very moment, about 2 minutes ago, they're up on stage still having a chat about it. They won Best Film. So they knocked out Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, and also Poor Things. Robert Downey Jr., he won Supporting Actor, and then, so he beat out Robert De Niro of Killers of the Flower Moon, and also dear old Ryan Gosling, he was beaten in Barbie as well. He hasn't had much luck in the awards ceremonies this year.
At least he got nominated.
Well, this is true. He got to dress up and walk the red carpet.
Well, Margot Robbie did she?
No. Well, not for an Oscar.
No.
No, she did not, but she has been nominated for Best Actress at the BAFTAs. But also, Oppenheimer has also won cinematography and also Best Editing. So, as I mentioned, Margot Robbie, she looks absolutely gorgeous on the red carpet. She's taken a nod to one of the Barbie outfits, a really gorgeous pink and black lace number. So, look, hopefully, fingers crossed, she can walk away with Best Actress there. But it is happening as we speak, the night of nights in London.
Good stuff, Jade. I heard an interesting statistic about the way in which we engage in these sorts of award shows recently. So in 1994, the TV audience for the Oscars in the US was about 45 million people.
In 94?
In 94. And the TV audience for the Super Bowl was about 85 million people. In 2024, the audience for the Super Bowl was about 124 million people. The audience for the Oscars was about 20 million people.
So less than half what it was.
So it's not as though there's some fragmentation that means people aren't watching set-piece things that happen, live things that happen. It means there's something about the way people... It felt like certainly the Academy Awards mattered a lot more in the 90s than they do today.
Don't you reckon, too, the Academy Awards is one of those things where, because of the time difference particularly, in a place like Australia, you're just going to watch online news coverage and video coverage of it during the day. You're not going to sit down and watch it.
Well, they used to. It used to be on delay here, remember? They'd play it at night.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
now we don't. I guess we live in a world where it's impossible to avoid spoilers, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not so interesting that you're going to go back and re-watch it.
No.
But this is why, TV networks will pay so much for sport, because it's the one guaranteed thing that everybody wants to watch in real time.
Yes.
Which means you can jack up the advertising rate so much as well. That's amazing. 45 million to 20 million.
Yeah, so it's halved. But I think that actually goes to something bigger around the way people are engaging in movies now compared to what movies meant 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I think it's different. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have seen any of the things that Jade just talked about, I'm guessing.
We have not had a single message so far in favour of shark culling. Nathan in Eden Hills says shark culling is a stupid exercise that doesn't actually make anyone safer, with unknown impacts on the ecosystem where you remove significant numbers of apex predators from the environment. It seems to be an idea pushed by people obsessed with the need to control everything, stupidity at its worst. Hard to convey the depths of my contempt for advocates of this idea. Nathan in Eden Hills. John says, rather get rid of the bats, they're not native. Well, no, they are native, the bats. The bats in Adelaide are local bats. One here, Michael simply says, rates, roads and rubbish. Stay in your lane, councils. Thanks for that, Michael.
Those Dutton's text, thanks to the great people at Dutton's, Big 10 Ford, GW Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu, Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. All car brands we might be talking about after 7 o'clock as we have a closer look at some of the modelling that's come out about the impact of this federal government plan to try and incentivise car companies to make cars here a little greener.
I'll tell you
guess
what.
Who's going to pay? You.
I'll hold my fire on this.
Hold your fire. We'll do the detail on this after 7 o'clock. Let's check traffic now, though, and we'll come back with police and weather in just a moment. Are you tired of back pain? We'll try Keyser, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Good morning, David. Crash look out for today at Houghton, North East Road near Range Road. Got a few delays there too, nasty smash. Windsor Gardens works there, St Olds Road, Nillagonda Drive. Also some activity at Leeward Gardens, Mount Barker Road near the freeway. Getting busy, South Road at Edwardstown with a camera this morning, Barramundi Drive at Hallett Cove. Take off with Flight Centre and fly Adelaide to Singapore, London, Helsinki and LA return from just $2,938 per person. Visit flightcentre.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Are you thinking about a sea change? Where you can walk to the beach and be part of a close community? Think Oakford Homes at Encounter Bay. You can live in a brand new low-maintenance home with all facilities close by. Fixed price turnkey packages, flat land, ready to build. Move in now or invest for the future. Oakford Homes at Encounter Bay. Come down for a drive and look through our display village and see why Stage 1 is nearly sold out. Oakford Homes, a statement of quality. oakfordhomes.com.au.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
As we know, the housing crisis is not going anywhere soon. In fact, it seems to be getting worse. But if you're a landlord and you're looking to sell, you have the power to make a big difference, a really big difference.
That's right. McGain have hundreds of landlords looking to buy right now. So get in touch with the McGain team and sell your property to another landlord.
It means your current tenants will have somewhere to live, their kids can go to the same school, hang out with the same friends. At the end of the day, they still have a place to call home, and that's the most important thing of all.
But as a landlord looking to sell, it means that you have the power to make a big difference to the housing crisis, and McGain can help you make it happen. Visit their website, mcgain.com.au.
If you're fed up with dentures and failing teeth, Next Smile Australia can help. When you choose All on 4 from Next Smile Australia, you're choosing the gold standard of permanent functional teeth. You're choosing a clinically proven 98% success rate. You're choosing 4 decades of experience from Australia's leading All on 4 surgeons. Get the smile of your life in as little as 1 day at Next Smile Australia. Book a complimentary consultation at nextsmile.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7, let's talk about the weather. It's a continuation of warmth. It looks like it may be more overcast. John Fisher at the Bureau has the latest for us. Is that sort of what we're going to get? More cloud cover over the course of this week, John?
Yeah, morning guys. Today pretty much mostly sunny day. Up to 35 degrees, very similar to where we landed yesterday, so another hot one. Probably today it's just a little bit of high cloud. We can see on the satellite picture kind of pushing up from the southwest, fairly thin. Should feel mostly sunny. As we move through Tuesday, we will see some of that high cloud start to thicken up. So probably going to feel like a cloudy day there on Tuesday, but not going to see those temperatures come down too much because it is fairly high level cloud. Currently 35 in the forecast. It might kind of be adjusted down a degree or two, but still a fairly warm day. Might feel a bit muggy as well. Breaking up for Wednesday, I think we'll see a bit of sunshine around again, another hot day, and then dropping down during the course of Thursday. So the cool change is due to arrive at some point, Thursday morning for Adelaide. So still on the warmer side, and depending on the exact time of that change, that'll impact the temperature. But certainly dropping down for Friday and the weekend, guys.
Good stuff, John. Thank you for that. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable David Backus is on the line. David, suspicious building fire at Elizabeth. What's happened here?
Yeah, so just after 11:30pm last night, emergency services responded to a building fire at a business premise on Langford Drive at Elizabeth. The fire crews were able to prevent the fire spreading to adjoining premises, but the building was extensively damaged. Unfortunately, the building was vacant at the time. So police believe the fire was suspicious, and investigations are continuing with 5 cause investigators attending the scene this morning. So anyone with information about that fire is urged to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
David, also a drink driver's been caught at Moonta.
Yes, about 5:15pm last night, police located a man seated in a vehicle on George Street at Moonta, and checks revealed the vehicle was unregistered and uninsured. The driver submitted to a breath test which recorded a positive result of 0.210, more than 4 times the legal limit. So the 38-year-old man from Moonta Bay was reported for drink driving and driving an unregistered uninsured vehicle. His vehicle was impounded. He's disqualified from driving for 12 months, and he'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
What a drongo. Good stuff there, David. Senior Constable David Backus from SAPOL. Thanks for that.
Getting some very funny text through on the Duttons text line about the proposal for the shark culling that the Port Lincoln Council's voting on today. Joe and Gawler makes this point. I'd like to know how they're going to track or cull the exact shark. The shark's going to put their fin up and say, yep, it was me.
Maybe the shark would just break down under relentless questioning by authorities.
Well, I think it is a council running it, so the most likely thing is they'll have another vote to say all sharks must wear name tags.
Yeah, well,
first.
Yeah.
So there'll be a sort of the bureaucracy will grow.
I tell you what, after the debacle over the Adelaide comments, well, you wouldn't put them in charge of anything, would you?
Oh, my God. Well, on that point, Jamie says, I'd rather cull the councils.
Oh, why not? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Can't we merge Elliston with somebody else?
Presumably, polling gets done on this regularly that says it's not as popular as it would appear amongst the 5AA breakfast audience. Council culling. Because I tell you what, if this was an electorate, it's an election-winning issue, but there's no appetite in politics to ever genuinely
there...
There was the merger thing under...
When the Libs were in power, but they shelved it.
So presumably they do polling that says...
Do they do polling, or does it just become all too hard because
maybe
the councils just say, we're going to go all out with this? And councils, they're powerful. I mean, they can affect... I reckon it just would have been political timidity on the part of the Libs where they thought, do we really want to have, say, Unley Council running a huge scare campaign about, these are the services you are going to lose as a result of your state government. Send David Pisoni a message. Like that on the cusp of an election, you go, hang on, what's that seat again?
Yeah.
5%?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or worst, Adelaide. Rachel Sanderson, back in the day when she held it. She never held it by that much, really. So when you go to war with the Adelaide City Council and you end up
wish someone would.
I wish somebody would. Well, it seems like we're the only people who do. Everyone agrees with this. This is a bad thing. I can show you 1,000 texts in my phone from members of the government going, you beauty, that was excellent.
This government and last government.
And the last government. They love it.
Yeah.
They love us chucking the haymakers, but none of them have got the chutzpah to stand up and do it themselves.
6 to 7. Love your thoughts, folks. 8223 000. Got a $100 unique home-style food voucher to give away for a good participation with the program. You can text us like so many have as well on 0480 08 1395. Let's head to New York now, though. Tim Lester for 7 News joins us. Tim, what's the latest on the proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza?
Well, the US, in a sense, has been tested with an Algerian-led push for a ceasefire to go to the United Nations Security Council in 2 days' time. The US, of course, has been working behind the scenes with Qatari and Egyptian officials for weeks now to try to bring the Hamas militants and Israel to the table on a deal that would give them a roughly 6-week ceasefire. This Algerian push has a lot of backing, but the United States has now said that if it gets to the Security Council on Tuesday, it will veto the deal, claiming that it wants to stick with the other plan that it's got for this longer ceasefire, and that's sensitive, and that a push now is badly timed in terms of making that happen. So some would say the US sponsorship of Israel alive and well in the UN Security Council this coming week. The United States says, no, we need to stick to the other plan and hold the line on it.
Tim, what's the status of the extension of funding to Ukraine out of the States at the moment? Because I know last week a lot of the more conservative Republicans in the Trump camp were raising eyebrows about whether that should be supported or not.
Well, it won support in the Senate with a number of breakaway Republicans joining Democrats to say, no, this near $100 billion for Ukraine and also money for Israel in its efforts against Hamas was really important. The House of Representatives, the lower house in the US Congress, has packed up and gone on 2 weeks holiday, saying it won't consider the issue. It's, remember, tying this to the border security issue here in the United States and saying the Biden administration needs to act on US borders before it starts spending all of this money abroad. And of course, what we've seen over the weekend is an important strategic town in the east of Ukraine fall into Russian hands as Ukrainian forces retreat, saying they simply no longer have the ammunition and weapons needed to hold towns like it. So the issue really coming to a head.
Good stuff,
Thank
Tim.
you, Tim.
Tim Lester there for 7 News in the US. What about Navalny? My God, you're going to say the same thing, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I actually don't think it's received the coverage it deserves as a story.
No, because we
in
kind of
Australia.
just, I think as collectively everyone in the world goes, oh, an opposition figure in Russia got killed. Oh.
Yeah, but that's the thing, it's become unsurprising, which is really bad. Like, I mean, it's a reflection on Russia, but it's a reflection on how mundane it's almost become. It's extraordinary.
Has been mundane. Bad timing for Tucker Carlson, who's over there putting up videos shopping in a Moscow supermarket saying this is so much better than living in the US. In the meantime,
well, maybe
the chief political opposition figure literally gets killed in a prison.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty disturbing that a bloke like Tucker Carlson would look at that and think, this is kind of, palatable. It's extraordinary.
It is. It is one of the more extraordinary stories in international news, and you're right. And it's sort of, everyone says, oh, you know why?
Good on Albo for calling it
There
out.
was a feeling of inevitability about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on Albo for calling it out.
Trump hasn't said a word about it. Not one thing. Amazing, isn't it?
2 minutes to 7, 5AA News is coming up. We're going to talk car prices, shipbuilding in South Australia, and we're going to get a review from a young listener about the Taylor Swift concert in Melbourne. That's all ahead.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriutpa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used, and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new, state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
Here's the thing about instant gas hot water. It's not very instant. It can take up to 40 seconds for proper hot water to come out, wasting around 25,000 litres of water each year. So get off the gas and get onto EcoVantage. With an EcoVantage heat pump hot water system, you could save up to 50% on your water heating costs, not to mention all that water down the drain. So get off the gas and get onto EcoVantage. EcoVantage.com.au.
It's Ian Healy, and I'm here to talk to you about back pain and Keezer. If you're one of the 80% of Australians who suffer from back pain, it's tempting to do nothing. But this can cause weaknesses down the road. The best place to start with back pain is exercise, and the best place to exercise is Keezer. Keezer's physios and Swiss-designed strength training equipment help you build strength in a supervised environment. I go to Keezer, and you can too, at our new clinic in Norwood. Book your initial assessment at keezer.com.au.
Get saving now with City Discount Tyres. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttires.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today. With the 7 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Getting fit, your New Year's resolution? Book a Pilates and group exercise class at Physio Extra. 6 locations.
Emergency workers have been set upon at Taparoo. It happened in a front yard on Strathfield Terrace just after 9 last night. MFS crews were allegedly assaulted. No one was seriously injured. A fire truck also damaged. 2 men aged 36 and 37 are each facing 4 counts of assaulting an emergency worker and property damage. They've been bailed to front court next month. A man has been hit by a four-wheel drive while changing a tyre on the Port River Expressway. It happened at Wingfield yesterday. The 23-year-old from Taparoo was treated at the scene before being taken to hospital in a critical condition. The driver was not injured. Investigations into the crash are continuing. South Australia will learn its fate this week in the Future Frigates program. It's feared any cuts to the Hunter class program could threaten thousands of local jobs. Shadow Defence and Space Industries Minister Stephen Patterson says we can't afford to settle for anything less than the promised 9 frigates.
Any cuts to Adelaide's Hunter class program from 9 frigates will be a significant blow for the local economy, for the local defence industries here in South Australia, and ultimately that means jobs here, because fewer frigates means fewer jobs and fewer skills.
A key independent senator says the Prime Minister needs to make it clear anyone attempting to come to Australia by boat won't be settled here. Around 40 people have been taken to Nauru after arriving in remote Western Australia. The group are believed to be from Pakistan, India and Bangladesh. Independent Jackie Lambie says the government isn't doing enough to keep potential asylum seekers away.
I'm yet to hear the Prime Minister making a huge statement out of this and say if you come here you will end up in offshore detention and you will not end up in Australia. And I think that needs to be made very, very clear, and I suggest he get on with that, because I can tell you now, you start getting those boat arrivals here, I'd say his government's all but over.
The ballot for the 3rd round of River Revival vouchers is now open. Travellers can score a $100, $200 or $750 voucher. Tourism Minister Zoe Beddison says they can be used on accommodation and experiences.
More than 100 businesses through the Riverland and the Murray Lakes and Coorong have put forward their interest in being part of this last voucher round.
And Taylor Swift played her 3rd and final Melbourne concert last night. Now it's on to Sydney, where she'll perform 4 shows. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Shaking off the weekend, here's Tom Wren.
Yeah, absolutely, Mel. And it is back to work. Speaking of shaking things off for the Crows and Port Adelaide, that's after both sides held internal trial matches on Friday night. No real injury concerns for either side, although key power defender Asava Radagalia spent the second half on the bench with a slight knee niggle, and he will be monitored throughout the week. Well, Alex de Minaur has gone down in the final of the Rotterdam Open after losing 7-5, 6-4 to reigning Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner. The 25-year-old Aussie paying tribute to his opponent post-match.
Obviously want to congratulate Yannick and his team. I mean, what you've done not only this week but this whole year, it's great to see, and it couldn't happen to a better guy. So well done to the whole team. You guys deserve it. So.
De Minaur will now be ranked number 9 after reaching the final, while the result lifts Sinner to a career-high ranking of number 3. Well, the Adelaide 36ers have finished the season with a win after taking care of the New Zealand Breakers 76-70 at home yesterday. But the Sixers have still finished the season outside the top 6. Let's go to soccer, and Manchester United's kept its hopes of a top 4 finish alive following another win, this time a 2-1 result away from home against Luton. The Red Devils wasting no time getting control of the match.
This is Garnacho, and it's in! Hoyland spins away towards the corner flag. 2 goals in just over 6 minutes.
Audio there thanks to Optus. They're now only 5 points behind 4th placed Aston Villa. And the Australian men's baseball team has gone down to South Korea, the giant Hanwha Eagles, 5-3 in their second game in Melbourne. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Good morning there. Roads aren't looking too bad for the drive-in today. The majors looking the goods. Do have a crash at Houghton to look out for. North East Road near Range Road North. Works at Glenside, Fullerton Road near Mulberry Road, and slow for activity at Gillis Plains today. Grand Junction Road near Blacks Road. Camerons, Bridge Road, Salisbury East, and the Esplanade at Semaphore. Does riding give you a sense of freedom? Do you feel so connected to the road? If you love riding and want to keep riding, back off. Think road safety. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Mostly sunny, 35 today, cloudy and 35 tomorrow, Wednesday partly cloudy, 34 and 29 on Thursday. Right now it's 19 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
7:06. Good morning to you if you're joining us for the first time on this Monday morning. It is the 19th of February. The good news to wake up to on a Monday. It's another beautiful day on the way. Pretty reasonable old week. We had a change around Thursday. It'll get cooler, but it's not cold. It's still nice. Nice belated summer that we're getting at the moment as we get to the last part of February. We're already there almost, 19th today. Coming up this hour on the program, Stacey Lee will join us in the studio. We'll talk state politics with Stacey. There's going to be a big state political story that breaks tomorrow. We've got some detail on it now, and it kicks off our news wrap of the morning. Let's start with the exclusive reporting in the Australian this morning about the surface fleet review. Now, the timeline of this is a classic government story. So we had a Defence Strategic Review that came out early last year. That made some recommendations about what should happen to our Navy fleet. And the government said, okay, let's get another review that gets done into the surface fleet. That was released to the government in September last year, but here we are in February of this year, and now finally it's going to be made public tomorrow. The short of it is, instead of 9 Hunter-class frigates, we'll be getting 6 made here in South Australia. The government will tomorrow say we are committed to a continuous ship build in South Australia and Western Australia, but the look of our Navy is going to be significantly different. It will feature a larger number of smaller, heavily armed ships than we previously conceived of, and the bulk of those we made in Western Australia.
That's the really bad part.
That's the really bad part. Here's the Premier speaking to us 2 weeks ago on this day as he made a mercy dash to Canberra to try and shore up the Hunter program. So the first ship in its class, called Hunter, is quite well progressed. It sounds like there's 2 more that are in there's no point cancelling them phase at this point in time. So if the surface review says, you know what, we're going to stop at 3, what would that mean for shipbuilding in South Australia?
So if the federal government is serious about a continuous build, they couldn't stop at 3 without simultaneously announcing what's going to follow the 3rd ship. And as yet, there isn't any work done to achieve that end. So, whereas if they announce 6 ships and fund 6 ships, then that would take the 6th ship into the back end of the 2030s, which provides plenty of time to work out what would follow the sixth ship. We don't see a scenario where a commitment to 3 ships only allows for the continuous build, which is so important.
So 6 is intriguing, because I'm sure the timelines will marry and they'll say, well, there's AUKUS at that point in time.
Yeah, so 6, if we keep doing 6, it gets us up to the point where they're going to be making subs.
But his answer there to us made it more sound like it kicks the can down the road and we've got plenty of time to work out what comes next.
See, the thing was, the Premier did other interviews after that one with us where he broadened out his definition of what constitutes shipbuilding beyond the Hunter-class frigates. He said, as long as there's ships being built, and that raised the prospect of, okay, so if we are going to be building these smaller ships, we're in the mix for that. Well, based on Cam Stewart's reporting this morning, and if anyone knows it's Cam Stewart, he's a gun, we're not in the mix for that at all. So that's the big problem. The fact that these new smaller ships, these nimble ships that can, I don't know what they can do, but they're smaller, zippier. If that was the envisaged, some shipbuilding activity that the Premier was alluding to, well, none of it's happening in South Australia by the sounds of things.
No, that's right. There's obviously politically and as an industrial story, it's the building of ships. It's the big story for South Australia. But nationally, the big story is, do we have a Navy that's capable of defending this country in any way or securing sea lanes or trade? Couldn't lend one ship to the Red Sea to combat the Houthi rebels because we couldn't crew one. I mean, that's a national embarrassment. Should be a bigger story than it actually is. But Cam Stewart makes a good point in his opinion piece that backs it up in the Oz this morning. In the period of delay, the 5 months between the government receiving this report and announcing our recommendations out of it, China's built 21 ships.
Yeah, well, quite a few people have been texting in along those lines saying, the only thing that's keeping us in the hunt is our alliances with the US and the UK, because, if it came down to a barroom brawl between us and China, we'll be on the map pretty quickly.
It feels like we had to learn a pretty hard lesson 80 years ago about what happens when you rely on someone halfway across the world to provide your defence.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's been learned at the moment. Closer to home, if you're planning on buying a car in the next few years, it could be significantly more expensive. We talked about this story
this is unbelievable.
When the federal government first floated it. This is the policy whereby there would be fuel efficiency standards imposed on car makers by next year. The idea being they would mandate levels about how much cars can emit carbon dioxide effectively. Go to fuel efficiency. In the event that they exceed that mandated level, there's a financial penalty to the car maker. Now, the federal government says this will encourage car makers to make more fuel-efficient cars because they'll want to be competitive. Well, some modelling has been released by the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries that says people could pay up to $25,000 more for popular utes and SUVs if this policy is brought in. At the moment, it's a discussion point. Here's Chris Bowen and Catherine King, Catherine King, of course, being the Transport Minister.
85% of cars sold around the world are sold under fuel efficiency standards, and it's way beyond time that Australia catches up. Now, this is a win for cost of living, a win for consumers.
There is just no evidence to say that it will affect price at all, of SUVs or utes or any other vehicle.
Just a comment on the modelling here before, because I know you want to fire on this. The Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries obviously have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, for sure.
They've modelled this on the basis of the highest fuel-emitting version of every single car.
But they've been candid about that, and they've also said, too, that this is based on none of these models undergoing any changes over the next 5 years. Yeah, so if they were sold the way they are today, this is what it would look like.
But the numbers are big. I mean, so they're talking about...
the Ford Ranger. Look at the Ford Ranger. So Australia's top-selling car last year, as the Ford Ranger is currently configured, the Ford Ranger would incur a penalty of between $11,350 and $17,950 under the proposed 2029 CO2 target. A Land Cruiser would go up by $25,000, and a much more modest Mitsubishi Outlander would go up by $12,390. Now, as things currently stand, the cost of electric vehicles is still significantly higher than buying like a Toyota Camry. You know, so if you're going to buy a normal sort of entry-level suburban sedan, it's, at the moment, I'm less worried about the Land Cruiser. I'm more interested in what it means for a really basic, cheap car, like the cheapest entry-level Camry, versus a battery-operated vehicle at the moment.
Yep.
Because that's where normal mum and dads, even if they've got to pay an extra $1,000 for a Camry, that's on the federal government. And frankly, Chris Bowen, if sitting on your hands was an Olympic sport, this guy should go to Paris because he'd win gold. He has done absolutely sweet. He's done absolutely, or rephrase that, bugger all, while Australians have been paying through the nose for their electricity, other than meandering, feel-good blatherings about our exciting renewables future. Well, forget the renewables future. Have a look at our bloody power bills at the moment, mate. Like, that guy is inept. He's like an innocent bystander. He's not an innocent bystander. He's a bystander, while everyone is just copping it in the neck. So why would you trust the guy who's done absolutely nothing about reducing our power bills? They lied about the $275. None of us got that. And now we're meant to trust Chris Bowen when it comes to car prices? Dead set. There's guys in gold lame suits selling second-hand cars on Parramatta Road who I'd trust more with car prices than Chris Bowen.
This is a classic example of the why we hate politics stories as well, because sometimes we should do what the rest of the world is doing and sometimes we shouldn't. This is an example of where the federal government has stood up and said we're the only developed country outside of Russia that doesn't have fuel efficiency standards on cars, which matters, except they also are the government that rejects when Peter Dutton says we're the only G20 country that hasn't signed up to nuclear at the moment.
Yeah.
We have to do what the rest of the world does when it suits.
What, does every other country have this?
A form of fuel efficiency standard, yeah.
G20 country.
A legislated form of fuel efficiency standard, yes.
Aren't most of them like tiny countries where you don't have to drive long distances as well?
Well, this is the thing. I think this is the thing that keeps it... It's used politically because, we don't want to be like Russia. Yeah, but Russia's huge, like we are. I think that's part of the reason. Distance that vehicles have to travel is a big component of this. Carlos in Christie's Beach has called in. Morning to you, Carlos.
Morning, guys. I'd just like to say I'm a tradie towing a 2.5-tonne trailer behind my Ranger to go build houses the government are so screaming out for, the community is screaming out for. Well, if my car price goes up, so does the cost of building houses, so I don't know what they're trying to achieve with this. It's just Bowen is an absolute moron. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, well said, mate.
Thank you, Carlos.
Cheers, Carlos.
Happy to hear from more people on this. 8223 we'd like to get your thoughts. Got a $100 unique homestyle foods voucher to give away as well. You can text us on this as well. You might be someone who thinks there is an urgent need to introduce fuel efficiency standards. Happy to take a counterpoint too, but in the midst of a cost of living crisis, I suspect there's going to be a lot of people that say this is completely daft, this idea. 17 after 7, big news out of the weekend in Melbourne. One of the big entertainment stories of a generation. Taylor Swift playing in Australia to 300,000 people. One of those listening is the daughter of our colleague Leith Forrest here at 5AA, Ella Forrest, who joins us on 5AA Breakfast. First and foremost, though, Ella, happy birthday for today.
Thank you.
What a birthday present, Ella. I tell you what, was this the first time you'd ever seen Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask, how old are you today?
I turned 13 today.
Okay, so what was the first record that got you into Taylor Swift? It would have been probably Reputation or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Reputation is one of my favourites.
So tell us about the concert. What was it like when she walked out at the start?
When she walked out, everyone was like screaming, and everyone was really excited, and everyone had their cameras out.
Some of the footage, it just looked so good. So, did you have good seats? Were you close?
Yeah, I think we were like 5 or 6 rows from the front, so we stood the whole time.
Wow, how cool! And what was the best song? Because it's all the different albums, isn't it? All the eras of her career. Did you have a favourite bit?
Yeah, her last song that she played, which is called Karma, it was really good because they were all in different outfits, like all shiny outfits, and everyone was just having a really good time.
And did you get into the bangles? Did you make bangles before the concert and swap them with people on the night?
Yeah, we had lots of bracelets. Even Dad wore bracelets.
Did he? Okay. Did he help you make them, Ella?
No, I made them all.
Oh, that's good. So you made them all, and then he went to the Taylor Swift and acted like he knew what was going on.
Yeah.
That's pretty. You're a good daughter, Ella.
What was the song that the crowd went the most crazy for? Was it "Shake It Off"? Do you think when they were? What was the one that got everyone dancing the most?
Yeah, Shake It Off was one of the most popular ones. Everyone was very excited, and then there were some other ones that she played a song because she has a new album coming out in April, I think, and she played one of her new songs from that album, so everyone got really excited for that.
Because she always does 2 mystery songs per set, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Can you remember what the other mystery song was last night?
I'm not too sure, but it was an acoustic song.
Yeah, right. I saw a video of 22, and the crowd looked like they were totally going crazy for that.
Oh, yeah, everyone loved 22.
Well, you're very lucky, Ella.
Wow,
and
what an
if
experience.
you've got any pictures of your dad wearing the bracelet, send them in, because we'd like to have a look at them. That sounds pretty, funny. Happy birthday, Ella, and that was a great review. Well done.
Thank you.
Ella Forrest, who was one of the 300,000 people that was at Taylor Swift over the weekend.
I really like this text from Rob. He says, after her 3 appearances so far this year, Taylor Swift's been on the MCG more times than the Crows' power Brisbane will be in the upcoming AFL season.
I was resisting making a Carlton joke with Ella then, with all my might, and I did. I think I made.
You make it now.
Can I? Yeah. No. That was nice for Leith to get there in front of so many people.
Chris has called in, not Chris Bowen, is it?
No, I don't.
It's Chris from Summerton Park.
Unless he's moved to Summerton Park. Morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, fellas. I've been lucky enough. I've purchased a new car, $109,000. I'm fortunate enough that I can pay that money for it. But have a look at this. I've got the invoice in front of me. Stamp duty, $4,020. Luxury car tax, which should have been abolished. We don't make a car in Australia anymore. $3,166.63. GST, $9,197.94. Isn't that enough tax?
Well, apparently not, Chris. I'll tell you what, did my column yesterday about excise. There's a mentality that is best epitomised by Katie Gallagher's comments about the alcohol excise. She was asked about it the other day when it went up, as it does traditionally twice a year for no apparent reason. And she said, look, in relation to excise, it's just one of those things that happens. And I thought, doesn't that just say it all? It's like the seasons or the tides. These are just taxes and there's nothing we can do to stop them. And you look at the cost of a car like the one you bought in the US, wouldn't be anywhere near that because it doesn't have all that damn tax on it.
I know, but luxury car tax is an absolute joke. I mean, it's. I understand it was brought in to protect the manufacturers in Australia, but we don't make a car here anymore.
I know.
Why is the tax still on there?
Well, because getting rid of taxes is like getting chewing gum out of your hair. Once they're there,
yeah.
I mean, it's dead right. That's what we have, a luxury car tax. If you buy a BMW or a Merc, you pay.
Hey, it's not even a BMW or a Merc these days.
Well, no, it
doesn't have to be that expensive.
No, but it's there to save Holden and Mitsubishi.
Lots of texts that have come through. Someone says the problem with shipbuilding, that whilst it's good for our state, it's not good for the actual defence of the country. Slow builds, expensive builds, inflexible builds, over-budget builds. Australia needs more off-the-shelf kit and fast. That one I can guarantee you was not a text from the state government.
No.
Dave says, hope people in far north Queensland and Victoria don't own electric cars. It's hard to charge without power during the recent events. Tom in Stirling says, boys, I declare my interest in the motor industry. I'm a car dealer. However, this policy has the capacity to decimate the industry, which is an enormous employer of hard-working Australians. And then but the other side of things, someone says, boys, America has these fuel efficiency standards and has for decades, and see what they drive. Also, it's all about the complete fleet emissions, not individual vehicles, so they need to offset the high emissions with efficient vehicles they already make, but don't import to Australia. So Ronan is saying that will encourage those kind of cars making it to this country.
I like this one from Rex. Guys, plenty of people actually go swimming, surfing, would love to see a shark cull. 3 people have been killed in the last 9 months in SA. It's pretty horrific for all. A common argument is a cull will make no difference. I would argue let's try a sustained cull and see what difference it does make. And the best test I can think of to test your sincerity, to be honest with yourselves and your listeners, would be for you two guys to be prepared to do a week's boogie boarding over here on York Peninsula.
No.
On your Rex.
No,
I think I've got something on that week.
No interest whatsoever. Lots of good range of opinions this morning on the Duttons text line. Let's check traffic now. Thanks to Keezer. If you're tired of back pain, try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Crash to look out for this morning at Houghton, North East Road near Range Road North, causing a few delays. Bit sluggish at Henley Beach South, Seaview Road near Henley Beach Road. Works at Windvale to look out for today. The Golden Way near Grenfell Road and getting busy South Road at Febberton. Cameras Barramundi Drive, Hullard Cove and Bridge Road at Salisbury East. Now at Harvey Norman, $1 upsize deals on Australian-made mattresses. Purchase a selected queen-size mattress and for just $1 more, upsize to a king. Limited time now at Harvey Norman. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Carmen at Wattle Park.
We're a small business. We were being charged 30 cents for debit and EFTPOS transactions.
So you're copying it too from the banks?
All the banks now have gone to a flat fee of a percentage on all transactions.
Weekday mornings from 9.
Banks are the ones wanting to go cashless, but they're reaping money out of that as well.
Yes,
outrageous.
that's exactly right.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
You can do just about anything online. Shop, meet new friends, watch reruns of your favourite TV shows or movies. But there's one thing you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Get obsessed with the Honda SUV range at Formula Honda, Modbury and Glen Osmond. Whether it's the compact HRV, the sporty mid-sized Honda ZRV, or the spacious CRV. And for a limited time, new Honda SUVs come with a 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services at $199 each. Visit Formula Honda, Modbury or Glen Osmond and test drive today. Vehicles used for a commercial purpose have a 7-year or 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. T's and C's at honda.com.au.
School is back, which is an absolute relief to loads of parents out there. And if music is one of your child's subjects, you'll be equally pleased to know that Derringer's Music has everything you need to start the year right. That's guitars, keyboards, drums and more.
Derringer's have got excellent staff. They've got a team of in-the-know musos ready to help. They've all been on the journey your child is about to embark on, so who better to speak with?
And when it comes to the selection of Yamaha instruments, it's safe to say Derringer's Music is unmatched for range and value. Plus, right now, you'll find incredible back-to-school offers across the store, including all things Yamaha.
Back to school, make it easy with Derringers and Yamaha, your local support act. Check out their website, derringers.com.au.
Remember when milk came in bottles? I mean real glass bottles. It somehow tasted better and it was better for the planet. That's why the Fluorio Milk Company have partnered with the Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle. The reduction in single-use plastic bottles will be phenomenal. In the millions. Join the fight to reduce plastic and look for milk refill stations in your supermarket. Thanks to Fluorio Milk Company and the Udder Way. Visit fluoriomilkco.com.au for more.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast. Stephen Rowe on 5AA Breakfast.
Good boy! 28 after 7. For a great meal, you're on a winner at the Excelsior Hotel. You just know it's a Barrow. Morning to you, Rowie.
Pembroke Will, Redbacks lost their last game at Adelaide Oval to the Bulls for the year. We finished bottom. Still games to go, but on a positive note, the drop-in wickets come out. Hoffy sets that field up for footy. Pembroke and Will, it's back. It's footy o'clock. And the next 26 and 27 days, respectively, for the two clubs can set their season up. Gold Coast Crows, that's round 1, 16th of March, that's away, and Port v West Coast home on the 17th. If they can stay fit, install their game plan, they don't know what it's like under pressure yet, but they'll find that out this Friday, and I'm not a fan of it. Crows and Port are into game day mode. They play each other Friday at Alberton Oval. We'll be there live. It's what they call an unofficial official trial match. Not happy with it.
It cheapens the whole showdown concept, I think, Rowie, because
It does.
you know, showdowns are about blokes going out there going hammer and tong, and form doesn't matter. You're playing for pride. You're not really playing for anything on Friday other than, you know, how's everybody looking and let's try not to get injured.
Well, here's the thing. At 7 quarters, they'll probably put their best out at the start, rotate the next best through, and by the end of the last 2 quarters, it'll be, I won't call them peanuts, but the lesser likes. Both coaches will speak to each other, get a couple of matchups. If you like holding hands, dancing with your sister, giving her a smooch, it's all those things. It's wrong, you're right, it cheapens it. I heard you earlier in the morning, Will, say that we didn't turn up for trial games. It's a modern phenomenon. Remember the first game ever with the Crows?
The first Crows. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. That was
52,000. Yeah, well, part of that one.
That was that's a little different. That one.
Yeah, I was saying, hang on, Turbo. We had 50,000 the first game ever versus Essendon.
Yeah, there was.
Anyway, big show. It's going to be hot. Stay cool. See you at 4.
No, well said. Good on you, Rowie. Rowie and Timmy G, the gurus, this afternoon on the Sports Show. For a great meal, you're on a winner at the Excelsior Hotel. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra hands-on physio at 6 locations. Even more convenient now with online bookings at physioextra.com.
Emergency workers have been assaulted in the western suburbs. It happened in a front yard on Strathfield Terrace at Taparoo last night. 4 MFS crews were allegedly assaulted. No one seriously injured. A fire truck was also damaged. 2 men, aged 36 and 37, have been charged with a string of offences. The Surface Fleet Review is expected to finally be released tomorrow. It will bring with it the fate of South Australia's $45 billion Hunter-class frigate program. Shadow Defence and Space Industries Minister Stephen Patterson says anything less than the promised 9 frigates will be disastrous news for the state.
It really is feared that there will be cuts to this Hunter-class frigate program from the 9 promised frigates, and that could threaten thousands of local jobs here in SA and create a valley of death.
Federal Labor's broken promise regarding the Stage 3 tax cuts hasn't caused much of a blip for voters, according to a new poll. The Australian Financial Review Freshwater Strategy poll shows Labor lead the Liberal Nationals 51 to 49% two-party preferred. The poll also shows cost of living remains the key concern of voters. Australian singer Jimmy Barnes has opened up about what he's describing as a close brush with death. The 67-year-old was rushed to hospital for surgery late last year after a life-threatening infection attacked his heart. He and his wife Jane have told 60 Minutes they thought he was gone.
There was a point where I was lying and I was just going, I said to Jane, I don't think I'm going to make it this time.
He said, I think I'm going to die. And it's very difficult to hear that from somebody you love suffering like that, and that's a scary sort of thing to contemplate.
Taylor Swift wrapped up the first leg of her Australian tour last night. Gail Watson is in Melbourne.
96,000 fans every night for 3 nights, leaving Taylor Swift overwhelmed at playing in front of the biggest crowds of her career.
The math is that it's 288,000 people in 3 nights. Melbourne, you're the love of my life.
The mega crowd's even making news in the US. And now the clean-up and repairs begin. Ground staff at the MCG are expecting to lose around 2/3 of the grass once the massive stage and ground cover is removed. MCG boss Stuart Fox says the delivery of replacement grass has already been booked.
Got 12,000 square metres of turf coming in.
He expects it will take about 12 days to replace all of the turf.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows and Port Adelaide players will hit the training track today ahead of their internal trial match this Friday at Alberton. Both sides are set to welcome back some key players, including Rory Laird, Darcy Fogarty and Aaliyah. Well, Alex de Minaur has lost the Rotterdam Open final to Yannick Sinner, but there is a silver lining for the Australian star. Craig Gabriel reports.
It was a very good final and one that went over 2 hours before Sinner clinched victory over de Minaur, who celebrated his 25th birthday by reaching the final, 7-5, 6-4. This was the 7th time they had played and the 7th time Sinner had won. The win sends Sinner to a career-high ranking of 3, the best ever for an Italian man, and de Minaur moves to a career high of 9. With Alex going back into the top 10, Stefanos Tsitsipas drops out, which means for the first time there's not a single-handed backhand in the men's top 10.
Well, Matt Campbell has won the Bathurst 12-hour for a second time, winning the Mount Panorama race in a Porsche.
You know, tough day, the weather, everything like that, and hats off to everyone at EMA Mento Racing. I mean, we're always running at the front. And it wasn't easy with the mixed conditions, but, you know, to Larry and Ianchin, they did a fantastic job. We kept it off the walls.
Briefly elsewhere, England has slumped to a record 434-run defeat to India in the third test on the subcontinent, now down in the series 2-1. And Aussie Jason Day has work to do, entering the back nine of the final round of the Genesis Invitational in California. He's currently 11 under, but he's now 5 shots behind American leader Luke List. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Good morning there. Crash at Houghton to look out for today. Northeast Road near Range Road North, causing a few delays. Busy in a few spots, including the Port River Expressway at Port Adelaide. Tapley's Hill Road at Glenorg North starting to build. Works at Leewood Gardens, Mount Barker Road near the freeway. And look out for a camera today. Port River Expressway at Dry Creek. Grab the team, hitch the caravan and head for the beach in the 7-seat Isuzu MUX. Visit your local Isuzu ute dealer today to discover the range. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Another hot one today, mostly sunny 35, 35 again tomorrow, Wednesday partly cloudy 34 and 29 and sunny on Thursday. Right now it's 19 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Join Care Alert's Safety Snippets, safeguarding our seniors, one tip at a time. Brought to you by Mike and Darren.
Okay, Darren, let's dive into an essential safety tip, ensuring slip-proof floors for our seniors.
Absolutely. Removing any tripping hazards like extension cords or unneeded clutter is a simple yet effective way to prevent accidents.
Okay, so what else can our seniors do to make their floors safer?
Using those non-slip mats, especially in bathrooms and other wet areas, is a good idea.
Great advice. Any other additional tips?
Double-sided carpet tape can stop those mats from curling up and becoming a tripping hazard.
Great tips. And of course, remember, you can always have your own free Care Alert with fall detection through your My Aged Care or NDIS funding. Visit carealert.com.au for details. That's carealert.com.au.
That's another safety tip brought to you by Care Alert, Australia's #1 personal alert system.
Austrac Campers' space-saving designs mean you can stretch out in a luxury king-size bed that your queen will still steal the covers off. Honey. Oh.
Austrac Campers!
Hearing Australia is making it easier for all Australians to receive expert hearing care.
And to celebrate World Hearing Day on the 3rd of March, Hearing Australia is hitting the road for the Hearing the Nation tour, offering free 15-minute hearing checks for adults.
The nationwide tour will see Hearing Australia visit 1,000 locations across the country throughout March, stopping in city and country locations in every state and territory.
The 15-minute check is the first step in understanding any potential hearing loss and whether further assessment is required.
So if you'd like to get a free 15-minute hearing check, search Hearing the Nation or go to the website hearing.com.au to find an event near you.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Jackie asked Shane if he used to ride a horse to school before the tram came into operation in 1929. Nice one, Jackie. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Glenelg and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 8. Jade Robin's out on the road. We'll catch up with her very shortly. Talking more on car prices after 8:30 and what the impact of the fuel efficiency standards laws will be when they come in, and we learn a little bit more about the model that the government adopts. At this point in time, it's still a point of discussion. So too is the surface fleet review that's going to come out tomorrow. The South Australian Liberal Party have issued a statement with regard to the Aussies reporting that there will be 6, not 9 frigates. Opposition leader David Spears has said any deviation from the commitment of 9 frigates being built in South Australia is a massive failure by Labor and by Peter Malinauskas for not fighting hard enough to secure local defence jobs. Labor's left South Australia in limbo with this review for too long, with billions of dollars of investment and thousands of jobs on the line. I suspect he'll be doing a press conference a little bit later this morning that you'll see on your TV news tonight, and it's something that doubtless will come across Stacey Lee's desk, who keeps a close eye on everything state politics for us, thanks to the great people at Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture, leading the way in office and education furniture right here in South Australia. Actually, with us here,
I know.
we
love those guys.
Studio 1, Studio 2, I don't know.
Whatever that
whatever
studio
it is. It's obviously the Keen studio, which is excellent. So it's great to have them in this morning, watching along. And good morning to you, Stace.
Good morning. Is anyone surprised by this, though?
You know what? I'm surprised it's 6. To be brutally honest.
Did you think it was going to be less?
Yeah. If you read the Auditor General's review into this program that talked about the procurement shortfalls and the total...
Because it was scathing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. If you read any reports into where they were at, I mean, they caught up a bit, but where they were at in terms of cost overruns and timeline blowouts, this thing was a disaster. And then you've got people in the Navy on the defence side saying, well, this isn't fit for purpose anymore. It's an anti-submarine platform, and we're getting nuclear subs to do that. And it's not armed anywhere near as well as any of its contemporary ships. Like, it was hard to find anyone who thought it was a good idea.
Why are we building 6 then?
Well, but this is the thing.
Politics.
Yeah.
Does anyone believe any defence announcements?
No.
Are we really going to end up building nuclear subs here? I'm even sceptical about that.
Well, Matt Abraham says no.
Yeah.
Alexander Downer says no.
Yeah.
He used to be the foreign minister. He knows a bit about this sort of stuff.
How many times over the years have shipbuilding announcements been made and then broken?
Yep.
So
timelines are too long and too easy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was going to be 9. A lot of people said, as Will just said, it should have been 3. Now it's going to be 6, which is what Malley did with his Mercy Dash trip to see Richard Marles. But the part of it that I think is really unnerving is that if they're going to build all these other extra small ships, according to the Oz this morning, none of them are going to be built in South Australia. They're going to be built in WA. If you were advising Peter Malinauskas today, Stace, and I know as journos we always want the pollies to be available, I reckon he might not do anything today. I reckon he might just wait until tomorrow so he knows exactly
what it'll be.
What he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, on that, did you? The state government's changed their. They used to have a Monday morning cabinet meeting every Monday. They've changed it to be in the afternoon now, so they have more media opportunities in the morning.
Yeah, right.
So
they might regret that decision today.
So anyone out there, they're available this morning.
They haven't got anything on.
They've freed themselves up. So if you'd like a member of the state government, they should be available.
Yeah, right.
I think it was interesting, a point David Spears subtly made in the comments he's released this morning. I wonder what... I'm guessing the Premier's going to say, look, in a challenging environment, we've had a win here, we've got continuous shipbuilding, we should be happy with that, essentially. I wonder if it was a Liberal federal government, what he'd be coming out and saying.
The Premier or David Spears?
I suspect he would be straight out of the gates this morning saying this is a disgrace.
Oh, yeah, totally. He'd be saying we've been betrayed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember being at a press conference with him when the French shipbuilding contract was still in place, but there were whispers about it, and he was furious.
Yeah.
I think, and he won't mind me saying this because he's, defending the state, but off camera he swore. He was that angry about it.
Yeah.
So he would be very fired up on it today.
Well, maybe he will go to war with them.
Well,
maybe he's at the point where he just says, you know what, stuff them. Be interesting to see. I think speaking purely out of state interest, he should.
Yeah. Well, and maybe personally.
It's a test.
It's always a tactical decision to go to war with your own party, but that would be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
He'd have the ships to be able to do it. So.
Now, I don't know if it's quite going to war, Stacey, but yeah, that's right. You have a local government in focus, a local council in your crosshairs to keep the parlance.
My council, Unley Council, just once again disappointing the voters in the Unley area. Last week, or their last council meeting, they decided to not go ahead with the scooter. It's still a trial. You know the e-scooters?
Oh, yeah.
It's technically still a trial.
There's been a trial for about 14 years.
Yes. The longest trial in the history of any trials. Like, if this was a trial relationship, you'd be like, all right, are we married now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure.
So they voted, and then e-scooters aren't allowed on unleashed streets anymore. These are the higher ones, which I think most people now know that the higher ones are legal, but to own your own, it's illegal, which is the most stupid rule in state government history.
It's weird. No one seems to have worked out whether these things are permanent or not. We did that breaking note the other day about how they're not even counted in the death statistics or the accident statistics.
No.
Well, they are, but they're counted under different cross-headings in every state.
Yeah.
So in some states it's counted as a cycling death, others it's a pedestrian death, others it's just miscellaneous,
And look, I
mayhem.
get it, because they're slightly new. They're newer than bikes. Not as new as e-bikes, I don't think. But how can we not get together to work out what's going on with these? The state government, I spoke to Tom Koutsantonis about it a couple of weeks ago. They said their legislation will be in place in about 6 months to make the use of private e-scooters legal. So they should be legal in South Australia within 6 months to use your own. But Unley Council had a trial that was up on December 14, and they had to vote whether to extend it or not. There was one councillor away, and then they went with the vote anyway, and it got down 5-6. So no more scooters on Unley Council roads until the state government sorts out the legislation, and then even then I don't know if they'll bring back the higher scooters.
So did they have their own scooters in Unley?
Higher scooters,
so you could hire them at different places?
Yeah, they're so good.
They're those purple ones, aren't they?
Yeah, the purple and orange. I went to the 500 last year, husband and I finished, we jumped on a scooter, rode home, stopped at a restaurant on the way home, had dinner on the way. You get home, it's better for the environment, you're not jumping in an Uber, waiting in a taxi. Haven't you?
No. I tried one night, and it was after a very long dinner with my wife, and we decided we were going to travel from... We're at the Grace Emily Hotel.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go to this karaoke bar called iDarts for an hour, and we thought, let's just see if we can get one of these scooters to work. And I tried to pick the damn thing up, and I tripped over it and fell on the ground. I looked at it and I said, this is the worst idea ever. But I downloaded the app, and then I thought, there's no way I should be even looking at a moving vehicle at the moment. So I reckon a lot of people would get themselves in a strife, in the small hours, like I almost did.
Yeah, but the way I see it is we should be treating them like we treat bikes. Or e-bikes. They're allowed on the roads. Why aren't e-scooters?
Yeah,
What's the
I think
difference?
so too.
What's the difference between the two?
Because the most concerns people have about what happens when you're a pedestrian and one comes flying around a corner. But I think the best argument for them is the one you made, Stacey. Every single one of those that's on a road is someone who's not in a car.
Absolutely.
And if there are fewer cars in the city, I reckon that's a good thing, just purely for the amenity of driving through the place.
Plus, they're really fun. What are you doing at 8 o'clock during the news? I can take you down and
take David
go for a little scoot.
I'm not doing it. No. I think all forms of cycling should really stop when you're about 11. For children.
I don't know how to ride a bike properly, but I can ride a scooter.
You don't know how to ride a bike?
No, it's a thing. We had bikes at home with training wheels on when I was little, and then my dad took one training wheel off, thinking that would help us, but we just rode around in circles.
No.
And then we moved
so
house.
You rode around in circles.
Yeah, we rode around and then we moved house, and the bikes disappeared.
Now, Stacey, excitingly, for your segment and going forward, we've got a brand new innovation that I think is going to have North Terrace on edge each and every Monday morning. The Keen Office Furniture Hot Seat. For the thing it could be a person, could be an issue, something that you're looking forward to over the course of the week as we set it up on a Monday morning, just to set the scene. Who or what is on the Keen Office Furniture Hot Seat for you this morning?
Well, today I think the Keen Office Furniture Hot Seat would probably have to be the size of a bit of a bus stop, because Unley Council is on the hot seat.
The council
is on the hot seat. They have voted this down, and now they need to decide whether or not they're going to bring them back in 6 months once the state legislation is in. I mean, it's just stupid, isn't it? You have scooters on the streets for 3 years or something, get rid of them, only to have them come back in a few months' time. So Unley Council, you're on the hot seat today.
I'll tell you what, Defence could get Unley Council to do some of its reviews.
Yeah, they seem like that. They may seem to have a similar approach to these kind of things, don't they?
I wonder what they think about frigates.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
They actually changed their mind about that.
Yeah, one person's away. Yeah. Now let's get rid of him.
That's right.
Unley Council, congratulations. You're on the inaugural Keen Office Furniture hot seat for this Monday morning. Good on you, Stace. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Big thanks to Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture, leading the way in office and education furniture right here in South Australia. Let's check traffic thanks to Keezer. Are you tired of back pain? Well, try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. At Houghton, a crash to look out for North East Road near Range Road North, causing delays. Slow going at Henley Beach South at the moment for work. Seaview Road near Henley Beach Road, getting busy. Windsor Gardens at Alta Road near Lagonda Drive. And look out for cameras this morning. Main South Road, Morford Vale, and Old South Road at Aldrinella. Now at Harvey Norman, $1 upsize deals on Australian-made mattresses. Purchase a selected queen-size mattress and for just $1 more, upsize to a king. Limited time now at Harvey Norman. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
Right now, Toyota Material Handling is having a massive clear out of 2023 plated forklifts. Score a great deal across a selected range of new Toyota forklifts currently in stock. Counterbalance and reach forklifts, walkie stackers and more. So if it's 2023 plated, get a great Toyota forklift deal. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
T's and C's apply. Offer ends March 31st.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise.
Call Precise.
If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise.
Call Precise.
If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or electrician, call Precise.
Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or electrician, call Precise.
Call Precise.
Matty B. Now, he knew early on he was destined for big things. He was ducked to the school, a high achiever. He could have been a chemist, a doctor, an astronaut. In fact, the possibilities were endless for Matty B.
But to everyone's surprise, Matty B chose to be Lord of the Pies. That's right. He started making his own pies and he called them Unique Pies.
We've tasted these things and they are superb. According to Matty B, Unique Pies are the best pies in the world, and with good reason. He spent a lifetime perfecting them and now he's living the pie life. Matty B also applied the same dedication to unique sausage rolls and unique donuts.
You've got to try them. Get Unique Pies, including sausage rolls and donuts from your local independent supermarket or wherever awesome food is sold. Unique, it's time for something better.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. To beat the summer heat, Yes can connect you with a new air conditioner thanks to the SA government initiative called REPS. Yes is offering eligible concession households a fully installed 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $8.99. Yes, $8.99. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yess.net.au.
Austrac Campers' space-saving designs mean you can stretch out in a luxury king-size bed that your queen will still steal the covers off. Honey. Oh.
Austrac Campus.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
8 to 8, breaking 8 coming up after 8 o'clock. A very unique real estate opportunity that we're going to chat with Naomi Will about. And then after 8:30, if you've got questions about how these fuel efficiency standards might impact the price of buying a car, we'll be chatting with an expert that can hopefully answer some of that. And again, none of this is locked in stone at this point in time. This is up for debate and discussion, but the government seems to be very keen on adopting a form of this. It's just which model and how much you're going to have to pay.
What do they do with the money that they get?
Oh, it's your general revenue.
It's really just amazing, isn't it, how this country works?
Yeah, it is.
It's just like this constant milking of people. Just everyone. Unbelievable.
For everything. All right, let's head out to Taparoo. That's where we find Jade Robin. Morning again, Jade.
Good morning. Now, this story that we're covering this morning, these are the stories that really get my goat when the people that are paid to look after us, our servicemen and women, are injured or assaulted in the line of duty. And that's exactly what's happened last night. A fire has broken out the front of a house on Strathfield Terrace in Taparoo around 9 o'clock. Now, the fireys arrived to put it out and they were met with two very angry occupants. Now, 4 officers were assaulted by 2 men out the front of the property. property. Now, I made a few calls this morning, and it sounds as if you've got a group who were allegedly very high on drugs and didn't like what the fire crew were doing, so they've come out of the house and lashed out. They've supposedly taken a few swings at the officers and started kicking the truck. Now, I am told that fireys involved aren't injured and they didn't have to go to hospital, but are obviously quite, shaken up after being confronted with this absolutely idiotic, moronic behaviour. 4 counts of assault and damaging property, that's what's been thrown at them, but they were bailed. Of course they were bailed, and they will appear in Port Adelaide Magistrates Court on the 19th of March. So, where's the respect for the people that are here to look after us? Just more stupidity out there.
Jade, so hang on, was their house actually on fire and the fireys turned up to put it out, or was it like an alarm or something? What was the thing that made the fireys there?
I've been told that there was some rubbish out the front of the home that was put on, set alight, and so the fireys were called to come out and start extinguishing it, and as they were doing that, that's when the occupants of the house ran out and
so on like
went
a stinking
off
hot day,
their head.
it sounds like these deros have decided to start burning unwanted domestic items in their front yard. One of the neighbours has rightly called the fire brigade, and when the fireys have turned up, they've attacked them.
That's spot on, and apparently, according to my contact, went absolutely off their heads at them.
Doesn't sound like this house is going to be featured on Better Homes and Gardens anytime soon. Unbelievable.
According to the... No, not really.
Jeez.
That's extraordinary. What a story. Thank you, Jade.
It really
Appreciate
is
that.
just remarkable, isn't it? How many laws are they breaking? Total fire ban. Just ridiculous.
Jade Robin, of course, out on the road with us thanks to Dutton's, Big 10 Ford, Jidam, Haval, Hyundai, Isuzu, Ute, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Ram, Subaru and Volkswagen. Dutton's, easy to do business with. There's been a big innovation in the world of the banana. Are you across this?
No.
So this is a really important step. This is the first GM banana ever to be approved for commercial production.
The first genetically modified banana that's been approved for commercial production. It's been in
What was wrong with the old banana?
Well, the old banana was susceptible to a disease that meant it was becoming increasingly difficult to grow and more expensive. It's called Panama disease, which is the problem.
Well, it's funny, we just heard Van Halen before.
The disease exists in Queensland, which is where we grow most of our bananas. So Panama disease is a real threat to the industry. So what they've managed to come up with is the scientists aren't great at marketing because they're calling it the QCAV4, which doesn't
really roll off.
Doesn't sound great in the world of bananas, but anyway.
Are we playing with fire a bit here, though, Will? Like, if we start interfering with the genetic makeup of a banana, what's to say that something bad, like you could accidentally create some sort of deadly banana,
like a super banana,
a banana that develops the faculty of reason?
Have you ever tried reasoning with a banana?
No. But it is a bit off, isn't it?
The banana apocalypse. So what they've done, this might allay your fears, because it's not like they haven't retro-engineered it with a pig or anything, right? They've got a Cavendish banana with one gene from a wild Southeast Asian banana.
Oh, that's all right.
The combination of these two bananas.
Well, they do that all the time. It's like cross-pollinating to create different types of pears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like your Burbosh and your... what's the other one? Yeah, Corella, I don't know. Keep going.
But basically, it's resistance to Panama disease, which is a big threat to the industry. So theoretically, it's a form of science that would mean there'd be a whole host of practical applications for things that are farmed or grown that have disease threats that they could be made resistant against. But the QCAV4, you're not instantly reaching for it, are you, if you go into your local food market?
No, I don't think so. But, I suppose if it's not some sort of Franken banana, then, we can all sleep safely and the banana growers can breathe a sigh of relief.
I like your idea of the self-aware banana. That's concerning. As you go to peel it, it pleads for its life, which would be really confronting.
Playing us out, Panama.
2 to 8.
Thinking about a solar battery? Don't wait. Connect with NRG Solar and bring home a solar battery with a rock-solid 10-year warranty. Use the energy you generate during the day. Store some for later, reducing reliance on energy providers and putting money back in your pocket. See NRG Solar in their new premises at St Mary's. Bigger place, better space, some amazing people. Visit NRG Solar now at 1275 South Road or call 1300 858 160. Now let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
Wait, that's a cookie jar.
Busted. My mistake. Let's see. Here it is. Here's one from Renette, an interior designer at Buy Urban for over 20 years. Renette swears to ensure your dream bathroom becomes a wonderful reality. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Wouldn't mind a cookie.
Some builders think a sloping block has limitations. When Beechwood Homes look at a sloping block, they think, the possibilities. Beechwood Homes know how to make the most of a sloping block. In fact, they specialise in them. Beechwood will design a home that works with the land you have, taking full advantage of every square metre. So if you're looking at a sloping block, go for it. Beechwood has your back. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture have the latest in office and education furniture all in one showroom. And the Keen staff love furniture. So whilst your colleagues talk politics at the water cooler, the Keen team discuss full office fit-outs and ergonomic chairs. Except last week when Shane told the team the scratches on his face were from a koala he tried feeding whilst picnicking in the Adelaide Hills. Thanks, Shane. Keen delivers and sets up furniture at schools and workplaces in Mount Barker and all over SA. Keen Office Furniture and Keen Education Furniture. Leaders in office and education furniture.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today. With the 8 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Getting fit your New Year's resolution? Book a Pilates and group exercise class at Physio Extra. 6 locations.
4 fireys have been assaulted on the job. It happened in a front yard on Strathfield Terrace at Taparoo last night. No one from the MFS was seriously injured. A fire truck was also damaged. 2 men in their 30s have been charged and will front court next month. The future of South Australia's $45 billion Hunter-class frigate program will become clearer tomorrow. Canberra has been sitting on the surface fleet review since September and will finally release it publicly. There are fears thousands of local jobs will be under threat, with reports only 6 frigates will be built at Osborne rather than the promised 9. It's been a record-breaking start to the 2024 Adelaide Fringe. More than 650,000 flocked to the opening weekend. The festival set new ticket records on Friday and Saturday night. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says overall, ticket sales are up 7% on this time last year.
There's something for absolutely everyone. They've really focused on keeping ticket prices at a diverse range of levels.
The federal government's pledge to accelerate the efficiency of Australian cars by 2028 is set to cost us. Motorists could be paying at least another $25,000 for popular SUVs and utes under proposed fuel efficiency standards. The government has rejected the claims, saying drivers would save at the Bowser. The federal opposition claims the government is failing to keep up with the changing tactics of people smugglers after around 40 asylum seekers arrived in remote Western Australia. The group have been flown to Nauru for processing. Labor MPs insist the nation's border protection arrangements remain strong, but Liberal leader Peter Dutton says that's not correct.
This is not the first boat. There was a boat in November. It's number 12 or 13. We don't know the true numbers, but for a boat this size to get through undetected tells you that those surveillance flights aren't being conducted, and I think the government is making a huge error here.
Oppenheimer has scooped the pool at the British film industry's Night of Nights. Brett McLeod is at the BAFTAs.
Oppenheimer had been expected to do well, given it had 13 nominations, and ended up scooping the pool, getting Best Film, Best Director, Leading Actor and Supporting Actor. The film Poor Things also collected a number of awards, including Best Actress for Emma Stone. Barbie missed out in all of its categories, including Best Actress for Margot Robbie, who stunned on the red carpet in an Armani dress, joined by co-star Ryan Gosling. Among those attending the awards was Prince William, who is president of the BAFTAs. Sitting next to him, Kate. Not his wife, but Kate Blanchett.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $1,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Outlander.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows and Port Adelaide are set to welcome back some big names for this week's pre-season showdown when the two sides meet on Friday night at Alberton. Among them are Rory Laird and Darcy Fogarty for the Crows, while the Power are set to bring in Aaliyah and Jeremy Finlayson. Well, Alex de Minaur is confident trophy success isn't far away. That's despite falling short in the final of the Rotterdam Open against Yannick Sinner. In a match lasting around 2 hours, Sinner won 7-5, 6-4. De Minaur, though, happy with his efforts over the past week.
I want to say thank you to my team, my family, my friends, all the support throughout all the years. We're slowly getting where we want to be. Another big step in the right direction, and we're going to fight for bigger and better things. So thank you, guys.
The Redbacks' frustrating season has continued after going down to Queensland by 7 wickets in their Sheffield Shield clash at Adelaide Oval. The result leaves them on the bottom of the Shield table. Meantime, India has smashed England by 434 runs in the third test to take a 2-1 lead in their 5-match series. The Adelaide 36ers have finished their season on a high, beating the New Zealand Breakers 76-70 to finish the season with a 12-16 record. That left them in 9th spot, 1 game outside the playoffs. Equestrian rider Shane Rose is in danger of missing the 2024 Paris Games. The 3-time Olympian has been stood down for wearing a mankini costume at an event last weekend. Australia has finished with 2 gold medals on the final night of the World Swimming Championships in Doha. 20-year-old Isaac Cooper taking out the 50-metre backstroke, a win also for the women's 4x100-metre medley relay team. And 2 games in the EPL overnight with Manchester United 2-1 winners against Luton, while Brighton belted Sheffield United 5-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Busy in a few spots this morning. Anzac Highway as you're coming to the city near South Road there. Port Road at Hindmarsh, a bit sluggish too. Got a crash at Houghton to look out for. North East Road near Range Road North. And we are slow for works down McLaren Vale. Tatachilla Road near Main South Road. Cameras, Martins Road, Greenfields and the Porter Expressway at Dry Creek. Take off with Flight Centre and fly Adelaide to Singapore, London, Helsinki and LA return from just $2,938 per person. Visit flightcentre.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Heading for a top of 35 today and mostly sunny, cloudy and 35 tomorrow. Wednesday, partly cloudy, 34. Thursday, sunny and 29. Right now, it's 22 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Yesterday was your last day.
David Penberthy.
Six minutes after 8, big final hour of the program coming up on this Monday morning. Breaking at 8 in just a moment. A rare and unique real estate opportunity in Glenelg, and then after 8:30...
Well, houses are getting expensive. Maybe you can buy this instead.
Yeah, it's not a house. I'll give you a bit of a hint.
No.
It's not a house. Then after 8:30, we're going to talk about, well, cars might be getting expensive too. The federal government's plan for fuel efficiency standards. And the impact on car pricing over the course of the back half of this decade is going to be the subject of a chat we have after 8:30 today. It's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, South Australia will officially find out tomorrow what the results are of the long-awaited review of the Navy surface fleet. But if it's anything like the speculation that is on the front page of the Australian today, there's going to be plenty of downsides to it. The original plan with the Hunter-class frigates was to build 9. It sounds like they will only be building 6. But beyond that, this promise of a new fleet of small, well-armed warships, in addition to the Hunter-class frigates, the speculation is that rather than being built out of the putative shipbuilding capital of Australia right here in Adelaide, the work is going to be done in Western Australia instead. Simon Birmingham is Liberal Senator for South Australia and the federal opposition leader in the Senate. We have him on the line now. Senator, thanks for your time. This sounds like a pretty well-sourced story tomorrow. Where do you think it would leave South Australia?
Good morning, guys. Well, there's plenty of concern for South Australia in what does seem to be Anthony Albanese limbering up to break yet another promise, this time the promise that South Australia would see the submarines and the frigates all built here as planned and as promised, and instead now it looks like rather than the 9 promised frigates, there'll be some type of cut And of course, if they cut the number, and particularly if they also change the schedule or anything like that, then that's going to pose real threats in terms of creating another possible valley of death for shipbuilding in South Australia, or seeing that the types of industries and jobs that are created around shipbuilding under the types of ideas being mooted in the newspapers today may well start to think they're better off positioning themselves in Perth rather than Adelaide, which would be deeply concerning for what it means for our defence industry.
Only a couple of weeks ago, we saw the Premier, Peter Malinauskas, make a bit of a mercy dash to Canberra to talk to the Defence Minister, Richard Marles. How would you rate the success of that if this ends up being the model that's adopted by Canberra?
Well, it looks and sounds like the Albanese government's doing what it wants, and that it indeed has been wording Premier Malinauskas up about the likely things they were going to do rather than listening to him or acting at all on what he's had to say. Now, this whole review has been a shambles from day one. We were told initially that there would be this big defence strategic review the Albanese government would do, and it would be the review to end all reviews. And so they did that when they came into government. And they also, when they did that, told us, though, that submarines and the frigates were off the table. It was looking at everything else, but we could have certainty that these programs would go ahead. Then they got to the end of that review and said, actually, now we're going to review the surface ships, and we will take a look at the frigates. And so the whole industry's been in 2 years of continuous uncertainty now, thinking that everything was done, locked in, then being told there'd be a review, but they wouldn't be part of it, then being told there was a review and they were part of it. That review itself was handed to the Albanese government in September last year. They've taken longer to actually make their minds up as to how they're going to respond to it than the review itself took in the first place.
Yeah, well, based on the reassurances that we seem to be getting, I mean, the idea of having a continuous build seems to be contingent, does it not, on more than an extra 3 frigates? Like, if all this other work's going to go to Western Australia, do you see a way where it could get us up to the start of the AUKUS subs?
Well, I think that is part of the concern, and ultimately it's meant to be a continuous ship build, not simply one that lurches between ships and submarines. Of course, you'll see workforce shifts to a degree between the two over the decades ahead, but the concept is that there is sufficient certainty of continuous shipbuilding activity aligned with the investment and work in the submarines, and so cutting the frigate program from 9 to 6 will jeopardise perceptions of there being a continuous build. WA has been used for some time for smaller, less sophisticated, less significantly armed vessels. And we'll want to see the details of just what the government is proposing here. But if it is a step up in terms of having WA do more sophisticated or more heavily armed vessels, and SA getting fewer jobs here, then there's no doubt that that will be a significant broken promise. And as I said before, it's not just about the work on the ships themselves, but what it means for defence industries and all of those allied companies who will be thinking, well, hang on, would I be better off being based somewhere else, namely Perth and WA, rather than Adelaide? And that's the potential real blow that could come to us.
Yeah. Do you have genuine concern, Senator, that given the timeline and cost blowouts of these Australian-made projects, that inevitably they're going to butt up against the deteriorating strategic reality that we're currently in, and mean that we're just going to simply have to look at buying off-the-shelf designs as opposed to sustaining in a domestic shipbuilding capacity?
Well, we've just got to get on with it, is the short answer there. We actually do need the domestic shipbuilding capacity to be able to have all of the capability that's required. One of the things that the world has seen as a problem in helping Ukraine as much as we should have is that much of the defence industry in countries of Europe and elsewhere has just been depleted. And so what we can't afford is a situation here in Australia where suddenly panic buttons are hit and we go and buy more off the shelf elsewhere. That means our defence industry is further depleted and our capacity then to respond in potential crisis situations is even weaker than it might already be. What we've got to do is get on, stop the reviews, start the action, get the ships being built and give ourselves the capacity and capability for our Navy in terms of the types of ships and capabilities they need, but for our defence industries so that we've got the type of industry and type of jobs that can scale up if and when we need it to scale up in the future.
Senator Simon Birmingham there, the federal opposition leader in the Senate. Thanks for joining us this morning for Breaking at 8. All will be revealed.
Yeah, we'll learn more tomorrow with the official Defence Strategic... Not Defence, that was the one we had last year. I'm getting all my reviews mixed up.
Yeah,
the Surface Fleet review that will be revealed in full tomorrow.
No word at all from the Premier yet on any of this morning, so he's probably trying to work out exactly what is or isn't happening. But we'll, if we do hear anything, we'll let you know.
Yep. We'll have full coverage of it on the program tomorrow when we learn a little bit more. 14 minutes after 8, we're going to check traffic and come back with a story in Glenelg, a real estate story that doesn't feature a home, nor a traditional commercial premises either. We'll reveal all in just a moment. Maybe you could.
Yeah, maybe. Renovator's delight.
Would stretch the imagination somewhat, though. Let's check traffic thanks to Keyser. Are you tired of back pain? We'll try Keyser, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Busy in a few spots this morning, including Hanson Road and Cormac Road at Wingfield, sluggish Anzac Highway at the South Road intersection as you're heading to the city, two-car collision at Houghton to look out for, North East Road near Range Road North, and slow for works at Leewood Gardens, Mount Barker Road near the freeway. Cameras today, Fendon Road, Salisbury Plain, and Martins Road at Greenfields. Take off with flights and fly Adelaide to Singapore, London, Helsinki and LA return from just $2,938 per person. Visit flightcentre.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
I went to the season launch and Hall of Fame evening. What I loved was there was just good, straight, honest talk from both Ken and David Koch in their interview and speech.
No outrageous statements?
We didn't hear things that we may have heard before. And
We're coming? Didn't hear that?
Didn't hear that, no.
Rowie and Timmy G.
Redeem Team, you liked that one?
I didn't like that one, and I didn't hear that either.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
NRG Solar have moved to a new location. It's bigger and better, and their new warehouse is fully stocked with wholesale solar and battery equipment. So, if you're looking to save money on electricity and help our environment, don't wait. Visit NRG Solar at their new office on South Road St Mary's, where every 3 customers refer someone they know, which means they must be doing something right. Call into NRG Solar at their new premises, 1275 South Road, or visit nrgsolar.com.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
A trip to the Adelaide Appliance Gallery really is like visiting an art exhibition. Just seeing their range of big-name appliances on display, it's like walking through the Louvre in Paris.
Certainly is, Will. Now, we were there the other day. I loved that visit. I was just walking around going, oh, love one of them, love one of them. Superb if you're into your food, but also beyond that, like you name it, all your laundry stuff. You won't find the Mona Lisa, but you will find a team dedicated to making your life easier. Now, they've got the best advice, they've got the best appliances, and they've got the best offers on Smeg. How good is Smeg products? Save up to 15% with special discounts on fridges, cookers, dishwashers, and more.
The thing I like about it is, say you were in possession of the Mona Lisa and you needed it to pull apart and get someone to look at it, you'd want Leonardo da Vinci to do it.
Yeah, or to clean it.
Or to clean it. That's what these guys are.
That's right.
They don't just sell them, they maintain them, they fix them, they'll tell you how to get the best out of your appliance too. You don't need to do a degree in dishwasher or go on an oven odyssey or simply make a pilgrimage up Mount Washing Machine. All you need to do is drop into Adelaide Appliance Gallery. Make your life easier with up to 15% off Smeg products at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
You've decided to build? It's exciting stuff. When you've found land, it's a good idea to get advice on what you can build on your new parcel of paradise. Get Steve from Beechwood Homes to take a look. There's no obligation, and you'll get a great understanding of what's possible. Sloping block, flat block, weird shaped block, or block on a cliff? Speak with Steve from Beechwood Homes for all the possibilities. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 8. Hard to crown our most generous listener, but high among them, who would arrange them, would be our next guest, Naomi Will from Naomi Will Real Estate. Such a wonderful supporter of the charities that we support here on 5AA Breakfast. But Naomi, we wanted to get you on in your capacity as a real estate agent this morning to tell us about Lot 49 at Collie Terrace, because I imagine it'd be rare, this kind of opportunity that you've sold.
It certainly is, and good morning.
Great to be chatting to you,
lovely
Naomi.
to speak to you.
Oh, nice to talk to you guys. Thank you. It's not so much unusual as I've sold quite a few in other suburbs, but I've never had one at Glenelg.
So
ever.
What we're talking about here, it's a group of 6 car parking spaces.
Yep.
And they're in the underground car park below the beach house and the Glenelg Surf Lifesaving Club. So I guess that's just where there's that little laneway that's got like a Euros bar and a couple of Asian takeaways and so on. So
it's straight at the end. Oh, sorry, I just cut you off. I'm sorry.
No. So what were you saying? It's straight where?
So Collie Street and Hope Street, there's like a little historical building on the northern side, and the old post office is on the southern, and it's straight down that laneway, straight under the beach house.
So just in terms of the price that they're expected to attract, Naomi, what do you... And they're being sold as a group of 6. You can't just say, I want to buy one car space, can you? You've got to buy the 6.
No, you'd probably be able to subdivide it again, but for me, it's a straight 6, 11.8 by 11.2, big square allotment.
And there's, I guess, with the zoning, there's nothing you can do. You couldn't say, I'm going to try to turn into a little, put a yurt there or something like that, or a granny flat or something.
It'd be safe though, wouldn't it, with all the cameras and stuff?
That's
but
true.
No, you wouldn't. Prime real estate, but no, you wouldn't. You definitely wouldn't want it.
So when you buy a car parking space or a group of them, is it subject to, you have to pay stamp duty? I mean, what's it like in comparison to buying a house?
Pretty well it's the same thing. I always say it's a bit like subdividing a block of land, if you can imagine it that way, from what was a big paddock many years ago and it all got subdivided. It's the same process to do to get to that stage where you can actually sell it. And this one, sadly, is a deceased estate. So, and that's just how I got it from referral from his lawyers.
Now, speaking of subdivision, do you have to keep them as 6 car parks, or could you make them 4 car parks and then 4 more motorbike parks if you drew another line down the middle of the lane?
They're leased to Wilson Car Parks at the moment, so you'd have to end that lease when the time comes and do it yourself. But realistically, as an investor, just parking your cash, I wouldn't be bothered.
So at the moment, according to realestate.com, Naomi, they're currently leased for just over $1,500 a month. Is there a price guide on what are you expecting that they're going to go for, roughly?
I'm a little bit... I know the flavour of the month and the year has been not to put prices on there, just to put contact agent or whatever, but we've put $320 on it. And look, the inquiries that I've had, I'll get that. Maybe a little bit more, but that's what we're expecting.
Wow. So have you had much interest in it?
Last night I sent off, I think, about 25 letters of offers.
Oh, wow. Crikey.
Yeah, so I had to come out of holiday mode. Bloody hell, I've got to get on the computer sooner or later. But yeah.
Hey Naomi, why do real estate agents do contact agent on everything these days?
In the old days, it used to be because there was a bit of an argument with the vendor and the agent disagreeing about the price. But now,
the vendor would always say heaps more.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I haven't met one that wants less. But, you know what? That's a lie, because I did once, and for some reason we're still friends today. But yeah, it's just a different strategy that's working at the moment. Not a real big fan, but I certainly do it. Depending on what other agents are doing in the area as well.
Well, the car park.
Rather the price.
6 car parks, 320 grand or thereabouts. It sounds like if you were thinking of putting an offer in, you might have left your run too late, given how busy you were last night, Naomi. But
maybe.
Fascinating story. We always love catching up with you, Naomi. And as Will said, you're always one of the, if not the first person to jump on the phone and donate for our many causes. And we know you're not some vast sort of international chain of real estate agents. You're a local woman doing a great job. So good on you.
Thank you.
Good luck with it, and thanks for all your help.
Hey, you take care. Nice to chat.
Yeah, you too, Naomi. Thanks.
Naomi Will from Naomi Will Real Estate.
She's awesome.
We usually do the jury a little bit later in the week, but I wonder if some of our listeners might have a view on a talking point out of Canberra over the past few days. Perrin Davey is the deputy leader of the Nationals Party, who's raised some eyebrows with a performance at a Senate committee in which some people thought she may have had, slightly too long a lunch to turn up and ask convoluted and difficult questions. Have a listen.
PAs are still getting their funding, which is good, because they deserve it. Let me take nothing away. They absolutely, this is Australians' culture. Then we've got the 4-year funding has expanded. We're seeing more success in regional areas in the 4-year funding model, which I'm very pleased to hear. But then when it comes to the program funding, are we still having program funding? So outside the 4-year model and outside the MPA model, are we still seeing program funding where we've got small to mediums competing against what I call professional arts organisations? Or have we segregated it out? So the MPAs, you've got your funding, go and do your arts, we love you. Yeah. And then small to mediums and others, and accepting others might have 4-year funding, and that helps with their core business model, but not. So all of the rest of you fight against each other, but they're no longer fighting against the MPAs.
That was meant to be a question.
Yeah. What was the question again?
Could you repeat that for me?
She said she had 2 glasses of red at lunch before turning up. Now, of course, the backdrop of this is a discussion around banning alcohol or drug or alcohol testing our MPs. The serious part of this is she's at a Senate committee.
She's actually at work.
This is our tax dollars at work.
Unlike Barnaby just trying to get home.
Barnaby was
not doing
on
a
his
very
own
good job
time,
of it.
just doing as he pleased during his recreational time. Is there any debate that
she reckons she had 2 drinks
under the influence?
2 drinks. I think she sounded like she'd had 10 drinks.
Yeah. Some people speculated on how big the glasses may have been.
Geez, the Nats have an interesting time of it lately, aren't they?
The timing couldn't have been worse if you were someone who was trying to oppose the idea of drug and alcohol bans. Should we be, let's put it this way, listeners, 8223 text us on the Duttons text line for a unique home-style food voucher given Barnaby earlier in the week, albeit on his recreational time, and now Perrin Davey actually at a Senate committee. Should we be alcohol testing politicians?
Or rather, why do they still have licensed premises inside the building? Actually in the building where you can just...
Do we have a problem here?
I can remember years ago, there was an MP called Graham Campbell, who was a member for Kalgoorlie. He was a Labor MP, real old-school Labor knockabout, who eventually quit the Labor Party and served as an independent. But when I was over there in the press gallery, Mum and Dad came over to visit hadn't been there long, it was like late 96, Howard had just been elected, and it was 11 o'clock in the morning, and there's a cafe inside Parliament called Aussies that everyone goes at, and they sell beer there as well as drinks, normal drinks. And Dad said to me, "Hey Dave, look at that bloke." And it was him sitting there at 11 a.m. on a sitting day drinking a VB. Like, imagine doing that here at radio or working as an accountant in town.
I think it's been a protection racket, actually, amongst MPs because of mutually assured destruction, where there are legendary stories, and I say that with the most liberal use of the term legendary, even here in state parliament, of people falling asleep during debates on the most serious social issues you can imagine.
Yeah.
But they don't go public because no one wants to...
No.
Everyone's got skeletons on their side.
Unless you go
and it's a disgrace.
Unless you go full Trevor Carruthers and drive your government car down North Terrace so poorly that the wheels actually explode and you're on your rims. Needs to get to that stage before anyone ever blows the whistle on it.
$100 unique home-style food voucher on the line, folks. Do you think something needs to be done about this kind of conduct in the state and federal parliament? Let us know. 8223 0000 the number.
When your emergency can't wait, neither should you. At Calvary Adelaide's Emergency Department, you'll experience shorter wait times before receiving personalised care from experienced specialists. With Adelaide's only 24-hour private emergency department, Calvary provides emergency care at any time with no time spared. For fast, specialist private emergency care, get care 24/7. At the Calvary Adelaide Emergency Department, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
Now, we all know what a swear jar is. In some homes it's fuller than others, but here's a swear jar that's full of goodness, coins. It's the swear jar at Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens, full of pledges and promises from the whole team at Biourban of things that they swear to do for you.
Here's one sent to us straight from the Biourban swear jar from Laura, the in-house interior designer. Laura is somewhat new to the team, extremely talented, and Laura swears to work closely with you to bring your ideas to life and help give you all the inspiration you need when designing your new Biourban bathroom.
And here's one from David Cox himself. Coxie swears to be available to work through any issues should they arise and to deliver a positive outcome.
For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 35 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra hands-on physio at 6 locations. Even more convenient now with online bookings at physioextra.com.
Emergency workers have been set upon at Taparoo. It happened in a front yard on Strathfield Terrace just after 9 last night. MFS crews were allegedly assaulted. No one was seriously injured and a fire truck was also damaged. 2 men, aged 36 and 37, are each facing 4 counts of assaulting an emergency worker and property damage. They've been bailed to front court next month. We'll find out tomorrow the fate of South Australia's $45 billion Hunter-class frigate program. The Surface Fleet Review will finally be released 5 months after the federal government first received it. A promise to build 9 frigates at Osborne is now under threat, with reports only 6 will be built locally, while WA could be in line for more projects. Liberal Senator Simon Birmingham has told David and Will it's shaping up to be another broken promise from Anthony Albanese.
And of course, if they cut the number, then that's going to pose real threats in terms of creating another possible valley of death for shipbuilding in South Australia, or seeing the types of industries and jobs that are created around shipbuilding. They will start to think they're better off positioning themselves in Perth rather than Adelaide.
The government and the opposition are trading barbs following the arrival of dozens of asylum seekers. Zach De Silva has more.
Around 40 asylum seekers are now in Nauru for processing after arriving in 2 remote communities in Western Australia. The federal opposition claims the government is failing to keep up with the changing tactics of people smugglers. Liberal leader Peter Dutton says Labor isn't doing enough to deter illegal boat arrivals.
If they can successfully tell people that they're going to land in Australia, then people will pay money.
But Senior Government Minister Tanya Plibersek has told Seven the opposition's rhetoric will only encourage more asylum seekers.
Under the previous government, boats also made it to Australia. We didn't make a big deal about it.
The coalition's seeking a briefing from the government over the issue.
New polling confirms the federal government's tax backflip has had little impact on its popularity. The latest Freshwater poll shows a small uptick in Labor's electoral fortunes, leading the coalition 51 to 49 two-party preferred. But just a third of voters feel they'll be better off under the new tax plan. The only survivor of that fatal mushroom lunch in Victoria has spoken for the first time. Christina Hearn reports.
It's been 6 months since Ian Wilkinson ate the beef Wellington dish allegedly laced with death cap mushrooms that claimed the life of 3 people, including his wife Heather. After spending months in hospital recovering, Mr Wilkinson addressed the Corumburra Baptist Church, where he is pastor. An emotional Mr Wilkinson said it would have been his 45th wedding anniversary on the weekend, adding, "The ways are sometimes hard, but God is good. He's with us." Erin Patterson remains in custody, charged with 3 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder.
Now turning to 5AA sport.
Agostino Mitsubishi's Good to Go giveaway is on now. Receive a bonus $2,000 fuel card on 2023 Build Triton.
What's happening in the world of footy, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, it is back to work for both the Crows and Port Adelaide after both sides had their internal trial matches on Friday night. No real injury concerns for either side, although key power defender Asava Radaglia, he spent the second half on the bench with a slight knee niggle. He'll be monitored throughout the week ahead of their trial match, the Crows and Port Adelaide, on Friday night. Well, Alex de Minaur has gone down in the final of the Rotterdam Open after losing 7-5, 6-4 to reigning Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner. Sinner now will rise to a career-high ranking of number 3. The Adelaide 36ers have finished the season with a win, taking care of the New Zealand Breakers 76-70 at home. But the Sixers have still finished the season outside the top 6. To soccer, and Manchester United's hopes of a top 4 finish remain on track after they had yet another win, this time a 2-1 victory over Luton. Meantime, Sheffield United remains anchored to the bottom of the English Premier League table, following a 5-0 thumping at home at the hands of Brighton.
Breaks for Adingra. Shot is deflected. There's goal number 5. And Steven Adingra wheels away again. For the second time in just 3 weeks. Brighton have scored 5 goals in a match at Bramall Lane.
Audio there thanks to Optus. Let's go to the US. Rain has forced the Daytona 500 to be pushed back for 24 hours. It's the first postponement of the race in 12 years. And in some golf to finish, Japan's Hideki Matsuyama is now leading the Genesis Invitational by a shot in California with a few holes to play. Australian Jason Day is the best of the Aussies. He's back in 9th spot, 6 shots back. And that's the 5AA sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Wingfield, Boomgate stuck down on Hanson Road near Cormac Road, causing delays. Houghton crashed there, North East Road near Range Road North, and Millswood, urgent sewer works on Goodwood Road near Clifton Street. Busy at Kenttown for works to Kettleville Terrace near Rundle Road, with cameras this morning, Kangarilla Road, Kangarilla, and States Road at Morford Vale. Now at Harvey Norman, $1 upsize deals on Australian-made mattresses. Purchase a selected queen-size mattress and for just $1 more, upsize to a king. Limited time now at Harvey Norman. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Mostly sunny for your Monday with a top of 35, 35 again tomorrow, then Wednesday partly cloudy 34. Right now it's 23 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Do you know how much that old fridge in the shed is adding to your electricity bill? Your energy saving solutions can collect your old inefficient fridges and freezers for free, and the best part is that you can also get up to $150 per unit. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 9, we're going to talk car prices and fuel efficiency next. Something that's been put on the agenda by the federal government. Does one necessarily equal an increase in the other? We'll answer that question for you. We're speaking with our resident car expert, Paul Marrick from carexpert.com.au, but also a dealer. We're going to do that in a few moments' time. The verdict is in on Perrin Davey.
Yeah, and I think Webby here on the Duttons text line speaks for the state, where he says, I was a copper for 43 years, and every drink driver I ever caught, even the paralytic ones, all told me they'd only had 2 drinks.
Yeah. That happens on those shows, doesn't it? People say,
if you watch RBT,
2 beers.
Yeah, how many drinks have you had? Oh, just a couple. What's that great line in the excellent cult comedy with I didn't assure you, officer, I've only had a couple of quiet ales.
Yeah, what is it? Why does saying 2... you might as well say none at that point.
Yeah, and then you go, oh, hang on.
No, okay.
No, it wasn't 2, it was 9.
Bernie in Kensington Gardens has called in on the question of drug and alcohol testing for politicians. Morning to you, Bernie.
Good morning, fellas. Thanks for taking the call. I think there's 2 elements to this. Given the recent Barnaby Joyce incident and the audio you played this morning, I think it's a waste of time and money to put a official policy in place for drug and alcohol testing for politicians. I think they're pretty good at dobbing themselves in based on that. But, I think the other side of that, given some of the policies and such they put forward, and yes, I'm looking at you, Chris Bowen, I think most of them are pretty much drugged up and fairly well tanked up most of the time, would you think?
Thank you, Bernie.
Good on you, Bernie.
Bernie referring to this next story that we're going to cover on 5AA Breakfast. I think he's not literally saying they were drugged and alcoholed up. He's saying, to look at the policies, you'd assume there was some sort of level of inebriation. I think let's give Bernie the $100 Unique Homestyles food voucher. You get unique pie, sausage rolls and donuts from your local independent supermarket. Unique. It's time for something better. It's a subject matter that lots of people have contributed to the program on the Duttons text line or the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream this morning. The question of legislating fuel efficiency standards for Australian cars with a dollar penalty for makers if their fleet exceeds a certain level. The reason we're talking about it this morning is because of some data that's been compiled by the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries, who obviously have a dog in the fight. But what they're saying is if you look at the most carbon-intensive vehicles, fuel-intensive vehicles on the market, and you say, well, let's have a look at how they are today and how will they go by these standards of tomorrow, you can expect to see dramatic increases in prices. $25,000 for a Land Cruiser. The Ford Ranger would incur a penalty of somewhere between $11,000 and $18,000. Hybrids might even cost you $5,000 more. According to analysis by the industry, Paul Marrick is from carexpert.com.au. He's always a good level head on these sorts of issues. Morning to you, Paul.
G'day, gents.
Hey, Paul, can I just clarify one thing from the get-go? Is it the case that when we're talking about these new charges, it only applies on brand new cars? Because a lot of our listeners will be going, well, I haven't got the money to buy a new car. I'm only going to buy a second-hand car. So would it affect second-hand cars? And on top of that, would there be a charge if you just happen to own like a 1993 Commodore or something like that and are still getting around in an old gas guzzler like that?
Yeah, look, if you can't afford a new car at the moment, it's not going to get any better when these emissions regulations come in. It is not going to affect anything that isn't brand new. And trust me, I'm one of those people. I've got an old 93 V8 Commodore, and if they tried to tax me on that, I think I'd probably kick up a bit of a stink.
Yeah. So only new cars?
Yeah, only new cars. And look, it's going to mean that if you're a tradie that's using a dual cab ute for work at the moment, upgrading that vehicle is going to become significantly more expensive. And this is part of the lunacy behind it, because the top 2 selling cars in the country, and in fact, the top 10 selling cars in the country, are all vehicles that don't have logical or viable fuel-efficient alternatives at the moment. So what you're doing is boxing people into a corner and saying, guess what, you're going to be paying more for your car, and also, guess what, there's nothing else you can buy that's actually going to reduce the amount that you're going to be paying.
Well, that's a really important point, Paul, because part of the federal government's sell on this is that it will not only will encourage car makers to produce more fuel-efficient vehicles, but it'll encourage them to sell makes of cars in Australia that are more efficient that they otherwise haven't been bothering to bring here. So that, to me, sounds like that's a bit of a furphy based on what you've just said.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the only electric dual cab ute on the market at the moment, it's around $100,000, and it'll do around 300 kilometres of driving, and that is before you put even a bag of tools in it. So the second you try and tow with it or put more load into it, it's not going to go anywhere. And the other frustrating thing here as well is that the government's trying to push everyone into electric cars. I mean, I challenge anyone from the government to actually try driving an electric car and using public charging infrastructure, which is funded by taxpayers. It is absolute garbage. It doesn't work. And I just think that these people just do not live in the real world.
Well, they certainly don't live in South Australia, because it's not at the point yet where you can drive the entirety of South Australia and charge your car. So,
yeah.
But we're talking about, and you mentioned tradies. The other category of people who I worry for here would be the grey nomads. Because if you're going to tow a caravan, you're not doing it with a poncy little battery car that conks out every 300 k's.
Exactly. And that's probably the most frustrating thing. People are buying the vehicles they buy because they need them for work purposes. All right, we can exclude people who buy a Lambo or something like that because they want to show off. But if you're buying a dual cab, you're probably buying it because you need it for work. So what you're doing here is just taxing the person who is trying to just live their life and work. And the other frustrating thing as well is, guess who's going to be paying all that? If car companies are passing that cost on to consumers and tradies, when the tradie comes around to your house to fix something, it is going to get passed on to you.
Correct.
So ultimately, it is a cost that will go up for every single person, regardless of whether or not you're actually buying a new car.
I think, setting aside the tradies and setting aside the grey nomads, what about the average suburban punter who just goes, you know what, I'd like one of these because I like to go camping, or I do a lot of gardening, or I'm coaching my son's primary school football team and I want to be able to throw 40 footballs in the back of the tray without even thinking about it. So that person, so if they're the ugly face of the climate crisis, if we take that one Hilux off the road, what's the, in a global sense, how does that stack up compared to all the new coal-fired power stations they're approving in China and India every 3 hours?
Absolutely. And look, the other way to look at it as well is that the transport emissions due to the cars that we drive are only a fraction of Australia's total emissions every year. So what that means is that they're targeting something that has such a little effect on the grand scheme of things that I think it's just an easy one for them to do. It's one that they can easily get by, and you can also pick up votes from people who perhaps catch public transport to work every day, don't own a car. These are the type of people that don't really live in the real world of people who drive and have to travel longer distances. And to them, it seems like a great idea. But you're actually in the shoes of someone who needs one of these vehicles for work. It is just a really disappointing situation.
Good stuff.
I don't know, what has happened in the Australian Labor Party? Like, it used to just represent normal suburban people. Like, it's like it's now being run by some cabal of latte-sipping poseurs in Brunswick.
Well, if you drive a Tesla, you probably think this is a good idea.
Yeah. If you drive a Tesla from one end of Glebe Point Road to the other, you think it's a terrific idea.
Yeah, you think it's a great idea. Thank you, Paul. Paul Marrick, from carexpert.com.au. Tom Gilbert runs Adelaide Hills Toyota in Mount Barker and is on the line. Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning, man. Gee, I love Paul. He's a realist, isn't he?
He certainly is. That was a good explanation as to how it would work. So what's your read on this, Tom? Like, if these laws came in now, and I know they're not going to, the government's saying we've got time to prepare ourselves, but do you think with, all the excellent cars you sell at Hiluxes and so on, they're not going to be able to get themselves ship-shape to meet the Chris Bowen checklist in time, are they?
No, look, you're quite right. Look, let me just recap on a couple of things Paul said. We're not against the standard, and the motor industry is working really hard over in recent memory, boys, to get the emissions down. Paul touched on a couple of very good points. One, the contribution of motor vehicles to the overall CO2 isn't the biggest and not the biggest concern. And indeed, our country isn't a big concern either. But what our main concern is, and I'm not speaking on behalf of dealers, I'm just speaking on my own understanding. We're not against the standard. It's just happening really, really quickly and really, really aggressively. You're talking about getting the current level of 192 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometre, that's the light industry fleet in Australia in general, down to 105 grams of carbon dioxide per kilometre in about 3 years. It's just not going to happen. And if it does, and because it's not going to happen, the cost of vehicles is going to go up because manufacturers are going to have to find alternative methods. Part of, do you remember Ferris Bueller's Day Off where they talked about voodoo economics?
Yeah.
In the government's paper it said, oh no, this is good for the consumer. They'll save money because in 2028 you'll be using less fuel. It's like, no, Australia is a tiny market. We're import-only right-hand drive market, at the end of a very, very long supply chain, any of these really overly aggressive changes are going to negatively affect affordability. And here's the kicker. If you make it harder for people to buy new cars, it's totally counterproductive because it's the new cars that have the lower emissions.
Yeah.
So you get on this merry-go-round of chasing our own tail. So, look, again, we're not against the standard. It's just really, really aggressive, and it's happening really, really quickly. And there's a better way.
Given your work at the coalface, Tom, I want to ask you on 2 points that the federal government makes in advocating for this policy. They say that in the absence of a fuel efficiency standard, Australia becomes the dumping ground for all the world's inefficient cars that are still out there. That's one. And the other thing they say is that at the moment there is a lack of more fuel efficient models of car being sold in Australia because they don't have to sell them here. What would you say to both those two arguments?
To the first point, Will, I would suggest that we're one of the few countries that doesn't manufacture motor vehicles anymore. We used to have a very strong manufacturing base, and but there's still a lot of government support for motor vehicle industries in those countries. We don't have any of that support here. We have no what's the word I'm trying to think of? No one's supporting our industry. We don't have one here, so it has been a dumping ground, but it's not for the reason they suggest. The second point is we have more ranges of vehicles in Australia than almost any other country in the world. We're oversupplied of vehicles. There's too much choice. And we've seen manufacturers come and go because they can't all be supported. They can't get a critical mass of sales volume in this country. So you end up with these people that are driving around in Ssangyong Musos and things that are orphans. They don't have a dealer network or spare parts availability because they got dumped here because we didn't have any tariffs. And now these people don't get any support from the manufacturers. So, yeah, it's a schmozzle. We should. Yeah, I don't know the answer other than we do support a standard. We understand the issue, but we just need a little bit more time to get into line. We're quite lucky. If I put my Toyota hat on, Toyota have been selling. They started selling hybrids 20 years ago, and we're well down the path of having alternate fuels. Vehicles. I've actually driven their hydrogen-powered vehicle. It was on display here in Adelaide a couple of years ago. So there are alternatives, and they are coming, but they're not 2 or 3 years around the corner. They're probably 5 or 8 years around the corner. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the other point I'd make, again, touching on Paul's point, is that if people can't afford new cars, then the whole thing becomes counterproductive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah. Tom, thank you for that.
Sense at all.
Tom Gilbert from
Thank you,
Adelaide
Tom.
Hills Toyota calling in on this subject matter as well. Hey, to change tack somewhat, we've got some tickets to give away to see Rouge Gluttony. If you'd like to see Rouge. In the mower at Gluttony in Rymel Park, got 2 doubles to give away. Gluttony's the home of the biggest shows this fringe. Tickets from gluttony.net.au. Get calling now. First 2 callers through on 8223 0055. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Keys. Are you tired of back pain? Try Keys at kieser.com.au.
Thanks, Will. At Houghton, a crash, North East Road near Range Road North. At Millswood, urgent sewer works on Goodwood Road near Clifton Street. Sluggish for roadworks at Henley Beach South today, Seaview Road near Henley Beach Road, and getting busy Brighton Road, Brighton. Cameras, Lonsdale Road, Hallett Cove, and Martins Road at Greenfields. Laugh all the way to your wardrobe. Save 50% on clothing at Savers. One day only tomorrow from 8 a.m. 50% off clothing only at Savers. Exclusions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA mornings today, the Dunstan by-election has renewed calls for a tram to Norwood. And the evergreen Susie Quattro, we'll have a chat with her as well. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Those topics, a lot more. Look forward to your calls too. Join me from 9.
What's on your bucket list? Skydiving? Swimming with dolphins? Hot air ballooning? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. It means you and your loved ones will be taken care of. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Get obsessed with the Honda SUV range at Formula Honda, Modbury and Glen Osmond. Whether it's the compact HRV, the sporty mid-sized Honda ZRV, or the spacious CRV. And for a limited time, new Honda SUVs come with a 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services at $199 each. Visit Formula Honda, Modbury or Glen Osmond and test drive today. Vehicles used for a commercial purpose have a 7-year or 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. T's and C's at honda.com.au.
Let's say you've signed a building contract, work is underway on your dream home, everyone's excited, and then one day, crunch, your builder hits rock while digging your footings.
So what happens next? Well, most builders will send you a nice letter and then bump up their price with a variation.
But not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed, and that's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Built like a brick house. Basic Trailers build all types of trailers here in Adelaide. Locally made with Australian steel, you get 12 months warranty and factory direct pricing. Visit basictrailers.com.au. Basic Trailers. Basically, better.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes to 9. We'll get to some of your texts and contributions in just a moment. Before we do, let's have a look at the fuel situation. Seems topical in the context of this conversation. Refuel for less and stay ahead of the cycle with the RAA app's new Fuel Trends feature. The trends, they're a little bit down from where they were late last week. There's some cheap spots under $2. The United South Road, Melrose Park, just under at $1.99.5. The United Henley Beach Road, Henley Beach, even closer to $2. It's $1.99.9. The cheapest, the ex-convenience Main North Road, Jeps Cross at $1.83.5. The cheapest diesel, the United Main North Road, Paraka at $1.86.5.
A lot of messages about the green policies related to car sales, which are being considered by Chris Bowen. One here from Ziggy saying, hey guys, remember when Scott Morrison was accused of scaremongering when he said Labor's going after your utes? He did say that, didn't he?
He did.
And he got teased. One here, until this government stops selling coal, they should just shut up. And Brett says, do you guys hand on heart believe that prices will rise that much? Nope. Well, we did say that. We put the caveat on it that's been done by the auto industry.
Yeah, and they modelled it on the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's right.
Which we said.
Yeah.
In more detail at 7 when we first spoke about it too. All right, let's head to Jade Robin. Now, you can watch along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream because this is a story very much with a visual element. Morning again, Jade.
Good morning. It most certainly is. I'm here in Rundle Mall with Sam, and we are coming to you on the live stream. So good morning to everybody listening and watching. Now, Sam, if you just pan up to this building behind me, the Myer Centre, the famous Myer Centre. Look, this place, I would say, used to be my babysitter. Mum and Dad bought us a yearly pass to Dazzleland. They had a shop across the road called Sports Lover, and so they would send us here after school, and we'd just go on the Dazzleland ferret, whatever it was, the
roller coaster.
The roller coaster thing, thank you, and went round and round and round. Anyway, so it's had a bit of a facelift. So that would be, 20, 30 years since I finished school, and it was in need of a bit of a facelift, I would say. Remember, it was that sandy, pinky kind of colour? Well, over the last few months and multi-million dollars later, it has been revealed, and it is a black and white kind of theme. I've taken to the streets to ask some people some opinions, and they've got some mixed reactions. Skip, what do you think of the new facelift on the Myer Centre?
I thought it was still under construction, to be honest with you. I've been walking by here. I'm just a tour. I'm working at the Fringe, and there's been scaffolding. So is it done?
It kind of looks a bit scaffolding-ish, doesn't it? But no, it's meant to be modern and groovy.
Yeah, it's just what modern architecture is ugly. But that's just life. Maybe they want to turn your city into Brisbane. That would be a shame.
Sarah, the Myer Centre's been given a little bit of a facelift. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it makes it look a bit more modern. It's maybe feels like a bit of a quick fix to change its look. But yeah, I don't mind it. There's a bit of work to go. We can see at the bottom here. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a little bit of a change. I don't hate it.
Leonardo, what do you think of the new Myer Centre?
It looks like a nice building. There's such big windows.
Rob, the new facelift, do you give it the tick of approval?
Well, neither yes nor no. It's interesting.
Do you think it's modern or ugly?
Yeah, modern.
So some mixed reviews. Nice. I'm not sure if you want to be nice.
No.
Look, if you're a Port supporter, you're going to love it. It's got black and white themes going on. Look, I'm with one of our mates there. It does look a bit unfinished, but downstairs the shops are still undergoing their facelift. But I reckon the architect that's probably spent years and lots of money putting it together is probably cringing that it's probably. I don't know. It's not. It's probably a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's inoffensive. I'm
Yeah,
surprised
I don't
it's a
think it's
talking
offensive.
point, but
the thing is, it's not striking enough. Great report, Jade. It's not striking enough to justify the outlay. Like, if no one had
Yeah, I
told me
think
to
that's a good
change, I'd
point.
just walk past it and go, oh, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, great report as always, Jade. Always love to hear what the people out there are thinking about the things that we're talking about.
I can't believe you've never seen Withnail and I. In the same way you told me to watch Superbad, you will be eternally grateful if you take my advice and watch Withnail and I.
You're drunk. I assure you I'm not, officer. Honestly, I've only had a few ales.
Pertinent.
There's one for the 5AA Venn diagram.
Maybe that's the end.
How many Withnail and I fans are listening?
Matt Pantelis is coming up. We'll have to find out tomorrow morning from 6. See you then.
If you have an